She's fading. We gotta go. I'll get my car.
What mine?
Yours. I gotta get me one of those.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Marvelous Discussions. I know, it's been a while. It's been a while since we've done a Marvelous Discussions on this channel. And before I get into this announcement, just want to say what up, Prime? And what up, Anakin Highwalker? Hashtag justice for fives. So, welcome to the channel. I think this is your first time, so welcome. Oh. Yeah, Prime. I know. So, all right. So, before I bring on my guests for today's show, yes, I am going to address the elephant in the room right now, right? People are used to me with a certain co-host on this channel. I didn't play the Marvelous Discussions intro. I use the Bat Dance Thoughts logo. And when I bring on my guests and you see the background, you will not see the Marvel background. Yeah, I know people are wondering, what's going on? Some people may be wondering what's going on. So Sox Bulletins and I had a lot of great shows together on Marvelous Discussions, and some Star Wars shows too. And one DC show we did with Zod Rider. We had a lot of great shows together. A lot of great content. And whatever has happened, I will not take that away from this channel. Unfortunately, though, for personal reasons, Sox Bulletins and I will be going our separate ways, and he will no longer be part of this channel going forward. I'm not going to get into the drama behind this because that's personal. I don't do that. This is not a drama channel, and let's just say, I will not bring personal issues and make them public. That's not something I do. That's not something I'm ever going to do. And it's not something that I really want to start on this channel. So So I wanted to address this though because he was a big part of this channel, and I didn't want to just like pretend that nothing happened. Because I mean, like I'm not because again, we had great content together. I'm not going to take that away. And I'm going to leave all my shows I did with him up. Okay, those are not coming down. But new shows with him will not be happening, unfortunately. And that's why I played the Batman Socks intro, because I really want to kind of establish that this show will be moving on without Socks. And Socks is in the Marvel intro, he's in the logo, and he is in the background. Originally, I wasn't going to start Marvelous Discussions again till Avengers Doomsday. My God, I blanked for a second there. Avengers Doomsday, which is premiering during Christmas time, in time for the new Christmas intro that I was going to have on my channel. And that was going to be, I was just going to skip everything else Marvel this year and just bring it back for the Christmas intro, and then have the Marvel intro be made in 2027. Unfortunately, though, my plan was foiled for one simple reason. Brand New Day was really good, and I could not talk about it on this channel. So I'm like, you know what? The Batman Socks intro, the Batman Sock logo, the Batman Socks background, that's the background for logo and intro for the channel in general, not for one specific show. Obviously, when I have shows that are very not DC, I like to give them their own intro. But worst case scenario, that intro is the intro for the channel itself, not just Batman's Discussions. I mean, the intro literally says Batman's Thoughts on it, which is the name of the channel, and the first show I did on the channel. Which more about that soon. More about that soon. So yeah, I don't want to get any more in this. So again, we will go our separate ways. That's all I'm going to say about that. And please welcome as I bring on my... Oh, okay, actually, there is one more thing I do want to say how this changes the channel going forward. Sorry. So, Socks and I, we would do a build-up to a Marvel show, right? So if a new movie came out, for example, like Brand New Day, we would have reviewed the previous Tom Holland movies, the other Spider-Man movies, maybe The Punisher, right? So we would do all this build-up to the next Marvel movie. It's not gonna work like that anymore. I'm not saying we won't ever do that, but truth is, with Marvelous Discussions, I don't want to do a Marvelous Discussions episode unless I have a Marvel fan on this channel. Because one thing I wanted this channel is to be true to Marvelous Discussions. Like, to Marvel. Like, I don't want to have this Marvel show where we shit on Marvel and talk about how much DC's better. I don't want to do that, and that does not change. And also another elephant in the room. I know last time I had Socks on, we were talking about bringing back the X-Men show with Zod Rider. Obviously, that's canceled right now. That's up in the air. But yeah, so I want to kind of address that too. So again, I don't want to get into any more drama on this channel. So I am ready to move on to the box office. There we are. So please welcome as I bring on a guy who, guess what, is a Marvel fan. You know, you've seen him on my channel for DC coverage, but this guy is a Marvel fan. So please welcome as I bring on Kozy. How are you, man?
What's up? What's up? I'm good, man. I'm doing good, man. Thank you for inviting me on this, on this show so we can talk about some Spider-Man Brand New Day. Been wanting to discuss this with some people, so yeah.
Of course, man. Of course. You know, this was, like I said, this was a really great movie that I had to discuss. I mean, like I said previously, I was going to not do any Marvel content until Avengers Doomsday, but then this movie had to be so damn good that I'm like, nope, can't ignore this. Can't ignore this. So we're gonna get into. So before we start to go over the movie itself, I want to talk about the box office because holy shit, this movie did really well. This movie did really well in the box office. So Spider-Man Brand New Day becomes highest grossing movie of 2026 in 7 days. 7 days with $1.15 billion. So this was from yesterday, but still, though, I mean, after just 7 days on the big screen, Spider-Man Brand New Day has already supplanted Toy Story 5 as the highest grossing movie of the year. Sony and Marvel's web-slinging sequel starring Tom Holland and Zendaya has generated 1.155 billion to date, including 449 million domestically and 706.3 million internationally. Those ticket sales are above Disney's Toy Story, which has earned 1.067 billion since June. So, Kozy, man, what is your thoughts on this?
Hey man, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Like I wasn't expecting it to like make a billion, but I'm not surprised it made a billion. Like like you said, this was a fantastic film. This is a film I've been waiting for Tom Holland Spider-Man to get. Now, I know the popular thing now is to shit on John Watts, which I we have to do give him some credit. Like the films he made, there is still some good stuff in those films. It's just those films were missing a lot of what we got in this film. And Daniel Destin Cretton, man, he cooked. He cooked with this. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised this made a billion. He did like a lot of great stuff with this. And at this point, I'm at where I'm like I said this. I said this even before the movie. When I saw the trailer, I was like, yo, the next two, whatever how many other Spider-Man films they decide to do with Tom Holland, let Daniel do this and let him cook. So yeah, that's my takeaway on all of this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it's like you said. I mean, this is probably the most accurate Spider-Man of the MCU right now because
Yeah,
I feel like I've kind of said like No Way Home kind of retroactively made the previous two movies better because it really helped establish Spider-Man as Spider-Man, like the Spider-Man that
yeah.
we know, the the elements of Spider-Man. Now there was still some stuff missing that I wanted to see. One thing
Mhm.
that would have covered a bit of a plot hole, and another that still gets me to this day. But we'll talk about those. We'll talk about those later. But in
Okay.
general, this movie was. I mean, I'm not surprised either. Like, well, okay, I'm a little surprised. I knew this movie was gonna. I had a feeling this movie was gonna reach this high.
Mhm.
I just didn't expect it to reach this high this quickly. That I will
Mm.
admit that did throw
Okay.
me for a loop a little bit how quickly this made money. Because I mean, let's be honest. Now there is a but to what I'm going to say. Marvel as a brand has not done well lately. Okay, like the MCU has not been good these past few movies. And again, I'm not talking about quality of movies because I liked Fantastic Four First Steps. I thought it was really
Mhm.
good, and I thought it deserved to do better in the box office.
Mhm.
But that didn't really do well. I mean, what even came after? I don't even remember what came
Thunderbolts,
after.
which Thunderbolts I feel like should have done really well because I really enjoyed funny enough, I enjoyed Thunderbolts more than Fantastic Four, and I love Fantastic Four, but Thunderbolts to me was like the first step in the right direction of doing like original creative films that we've gotten in the early MCU phases. This felt like in the right direction of like them being like, okay, instead of focusing on quantity, let's focus on quality. And I really enjoyed it with this, especially with a bunch of characters that, at least for me, I cared about. But like, I can understand the normal fan not caring about these characters in certain films. Maybe like the most you'll get is like Yelena, Bucky, and maybe US agent. But even then, it's like not a lot of people cared about them in these other films, but that this Thunderbolts film made it where it's like, okay, they maybe care about these people. So that's what was after Fantastic Four, and then before that was
Actually, it
uh
was right before Fantastic Four.
yeah. So it was Fantastic Four, or do it in this way. It was uh Deadpool and Wolverine, Captain America, Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and now we're at Spider-Man.
Okay, yeah, I just can't believe I can't believe another Marvel movie hasn't come out since Fantastic Four, but yeah, I
Yeah.
guess so. And but I but here's why I think this movie did well. It's like the same reason why Deadpool and Wolverine did well. They were listening to fans. Fans
Yep.
wanted to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. They wanted to
Hmm.
see him in the classic costume. They did that. This movie, like I would say, like they brought Punisher back. I mean, no, he was already in
Hmm.
Daredevil Born Again, but I would argue one of the strongest aspects of the MCU is the Netflix era. Now, I'm still going to call. I know it's not Netflix anymore. I know the Netflix shows are on Disney Plus now. I know that Disney's doing them. I'm still calling it the Netflix
I
shows.
still call it the Netflix era. So yeah, like it, like and to even to add on what you were saying, like it it's not this is the first time we've seen Punisher on the big screen.
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen any of the Netflix characters in the movies other than a cameo. Because
Yeah,
Matt Murdock was in it, but it was one
yeah,
scene or
yeah,
two if you
and
watch the extended cuts.
yeah, true.
But other than that, though, it's been very. You've never had another real connection to the MCU. So or to the Netflix stuff. So I think that was one thing that really made people want to see it because it's Punisher. But not just that though. Spider-Man sells. Okay, no matter what, guys. And now, when I say Spider-Man, I mean actually Spider-Man, not as side characters where you have Spider-Man mentioned or you have him in it as a baby, but it's all implied. I don't mean that. I mean actually Spider-Man in the flesh. Spider-Man sells. It was something Mikey Sutton said. Marvel fans like Batman, DC fans like Spider-Man. Those are the two that cross the other threshold. So Spider-Man is going to do well when you actually do Spider-Man. So to me, that's why this movie did well. Now, the ironic thing though for Marvel, no, again, I don't. This is still a success for Marvel, guys. Make no mistake.
Yeah,
But one thing that is kind of sad for Marvel is that this is one of their best movies that did well, and they only get 25% of the profits. It's 25%, right? Because I think they negotiated 50 with Sony and then it went down to 25.
I don't know. We have to
Okay.
check on that, but yeah, I wouldn't know. And if even if they went down to 25, I can imagine the most of their profit is from like merch and all that. Since
They do get merchandising rights.
yeah,
That Disney does get the merchandising rights. Even when they were doing the Andrew Garfield movies in the
hmm,
Disney store back, I know the physical Disney store. That's something that people probably don't even realize was a thing. The
yeah,
physical Disney store that those did exist. I remember seeing Amazing Spider-Man 2 merchandise in the Disney store because Disney have
hmm,
the merchandising rights to Spider-Man. So I think they still get that too. And I mean, let's be honest here, creatively, this is a Disney movie 100%. Yes,
yeah.
Sony is distributing the film, but
But it's in the MCU interacting with
it's
other MCU characters, so it's technically a Disney film. But yeah,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it's just that Sony gets the distribution rights to the film. So that's why you don't see it on Disney Plus unless they work out a licensing agreement. So,
Hmm.
okay, according to Google AI, it is 25%. So I'll
Okay.
just kind of split this up real quick. But so under the renegotiated deal for Tom Holland's film, Marvel Disney spends 25% of the production budget and receives approximately 25% of the box office revenue. So Sony handles major financing and distribution. Marvel Studios produces the film, with Disney roughly taking roughly a quarter of the box office receipts and profits. Separately, Disney holds 100% of the rights to Spider-Man merchandise, which generates substantial additional revenue outside the box office. So, I
Yeah.
mean, this is still a huge success for Marvel, and they're still
Yeah.
only paying 25% of the box office. It's not
Yeah.
like they're paying the same amount percentage of the box of the production. So it's
Mhm.
still a big success for Marvel, absolutely. And I would say it's a big success for Sony. I mean, it is, but it doesn't. I'm still not reassured that Sony can do Spider-Man on their own because if they're only other than outside of animation, Sony has not had success with Spider-Man on their own.
No, that's facts. I don't know. They need. I don't want to say this person needs to be fired, but whoever came up with the idea, let's do spin-offs without Spider-Man and have spin-off movies for the villains. They just need to be removed from the Spider-Man sector of Sony, because what do you mean we're getting villain films with no Spider-Man in it? That that's that's you have the rights to Spider-Man, and you said, you know what? We'll do 3 Venom movies, a Morbius movie, Madam Web, and Craven, and there's no Spider-Man. What do you mean? Like,
Well, technically, there is a Spider-Man in Madam Web.
well, okay, yeah, but you know what I mean. Where's
Yeah.
our Spider-Man? Where's the Peter Parker Spider? Like, they even had they had a cameo, or not cameo, but more of an Easter egg in Morbius, when they're, like, when he's
Michael
talking
Keaton.
talking to Michael Keaton, and you have the Raimi Spider-Man on the wall. But other than that, it's like, where's Spider-Man? Like, where's, like you have the rights. If you ask Andrew, you ask Toby if they still want to do it after No Way Home, I would think, hey, if I'm Sony, I'd be like, yo, we just did No Way Home. It was successful. Andrew and Toby are back into the, like, not saying they left, but it's back into the buzz of talking about their Spider-Man. Let's make a deal with them to see if we can get Raimi to do one more Spider-Man movie and get Andrew to get his 3rd Spider-Man movie. But they just said, nah, you know what? Let's do these villain spinoffs. No Spider-Man. Well, to your point, a Spider-Man that is a more of like a villain, and yeah, call it a day. And it's like,
And a baby Peter Parker, but don't
oh yeah,
like that's but yeah, I get exactly what you're saying, and I'm just gonna say this right now. If you're gonna do a Spider-Man 4, do it soon, because the actress who
yeah.
plays Aunt May is still alive. I think she's
Oh,
like 99. Okay, wait. How old is the actress who played Aunt May and Toby? I'm just gonna say Tobey Maguire. They'll figure it out, because she's still like
I'm surprised she's still
Rosemary
alive.
Harris is. Yeah, I know. It's another Mel Brooks, right? That's the Spaceballs guy, Mel Brooks. It's another Mel Brooks situation with her, and Google AI is loading very slowly, but they forgot to actually. Okay, she was born in 1997 or 1927. 1927. So what is September? So in September, okay, Google is being slow right now, and I'm doing math, guys. Yes, Batman has to do math with a calculator. Sorry. So 2027 minus 1917. So it's 1917. That, or no, not 1727. My God. Okay, 1927. So she is 99 years old. So she's going to turn 99 in September. So
Oh man,
if you want to do a movie with Aunt May, now's the time to do it, guys. Now is the
yeah,
time to do it. I mean, assuming that she's retired. I mean, she might be retired from acting. I don't know,
yeah.
but I don't know. With enough money, I mean, because that money can go to her family.
Mm-hmm.
They might be able to convince her to do a cameo. But again, but see, I would say this, and we could do a whole stream on the box office and why this thing is a success. But you know what this movie convinces me, though, and this is gonna be
That.
shocking. This movie has convinced me that Marvel needs to do less content.
Oh yeah, I think Kevin Feige got the message that they needed to do less content.
Because to me, that's why Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four didn't do so well, because they had to get back the trust. Because let's be honest, after Endgame, it kind of sucked. Like, I mean, I'm just calling what it is, guys.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, they had some great stuff after Endgame. I'm not. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine, Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm not saying they didn't have any good content, but it was definitely more misses than hits, especially going with the box office. And so they need to focus on quality and get down with and go do away with quantity. Okay. If you don't, here's the thing. I would rather just see one movie and no shows if you don't have a good story.
True. Or one movie and one show instead of trying to do like 2 shows and 2 movies or 3 movies in 1 year.
Oh yeah.
That like that's I'm not that's a lot. That's way too much.
Honestly, I think Marvel needs to not do any more shows outside of the Netflix era characters. I think, to me, unless you're doing a Netflix era character, do not do any more Marvel shows, because to me that's their best bet right now. And I don't want to focus. And again, I want to focus on quality here, not
I
quantity.
would say don't do if you're gonna do a show, make sure it's tied into like not to say the other shows aren't tied in, but like something like Loki. Loki is tied into something like Doomsday and Secret Wars. If it's not something like that, or like Falcon and Winter Soldier, like if it's not something like that, there's no need to do it unless you're introducing a character that you don't need to do for a movie. Because like Miss Marvel didn't need a movie, but they did it. They did a show. Boom. Like there's a formula that they have. It's just the way they went about the shows was just like it felt like they had their good ideas, and then they just had ideas that you're like, let's just throw it out there. And it's like, you could have just had this set and put it in between certain movies, you know?
Well, it's actually like my biggest issue, like WandaVision. Like, it started off so slowly. I'm like, this is your first time back with the MCU since Far From Home, and you're doing this sitcom thing that doesn't really get exciting till episode 3. Like,
But they're going off of hype factor though, and off of not just hype factor, but off of the audience not knowing what's gonna happen, which in my opinion, what made WandaVision work really well because we didn't know what the status of Wanda was, and especially that after the events of I don't even want to say Endgame, after Infinity War, and seeing what she went through and all that, and then that tied into Multiverse of Madness. So I understand what you're saying, and I agree with somewhat of what you're saying, but something like that, it worked out in a way of they used the hype factor from Endgame and Infinity War and use the unknowing of what to expect from the show, other than following Wanda and her getting over her grief. I feel like certain shows like Secret Invasion,
oh god.
Moon Knight, trying to think what else did they drop?
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think those were needed. I don't think that was needed. You
No.
you could have done something else. Moon Knight could have been the one shot they did like for Punisher and the Werewolf by Night. That could have been Moon Knight's, or just you could have gave him a movie. She-Hulk.
Not
I
a
feel like
comedy. Not the comedy it was.
yeah, I feel like you could have introduced her in a show or movie. And then what else did I say? I said, oh, Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
Secret Invasion should have been a movie. That should, in my opinion, Secret Invasion should have been either one movie or a 2-part movie, because in the comics of Secret Invasion, there's a bigger arcing story when it comes to these scrolls and them looking like the Avengers and other heroes and having their abilities. That should have been a whole bigger thing than what they did in the show. And if you were going to do it in the show, they should have done it in a different way than they did with that.
Oh
So
yeah. Yep. No, I agree. I completely agree with you. So, but yeah, and I think so that's the overall lesson, is focus on quality, not quantity, and give fans what they want, okay?
mhm,
I do have my issues with the MCU, but one thing I will give Feige credit for, he gives the fans what they want. They would never
facts.
have Charlie Cox and Charlie announce he's back as Daredevil and then 2 months later say, "Oh, sorry, we're going in a different direction." They wouldn't do that. So, anyways, I'm happy for this movie. I'm happy this movie did well. And now let's get on to the actual review now. So, So the story, Kozy, what's your overall thoughts of the story? Like the whole plot of Peter Parker fitting into his new life and dealing with the mutant issue and fighting Jean Grey. Like, what's your thoughts on the story?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the story and liked it because it established mutants even more. Because like we had sprinkles here and there about mutants. With this, we fully have a full thing of okay, this is the setting point of getting the X-Men and other mutants in the future. I love that we're coming off of No Way Home and seeing how Peter is dealing with not being friends with Ned, not being with MJ, being on his own, being Spider-Man, and seeing how that impacts him mentally because of he's by himself, no one to turn to, and just and you see in the beginning when he's talking to the detective of like she's questioning him like you're always working, like you're always busy, you don't have like basically she's like you don't have a life outside of saving people, you don't like go see a movie, go to the arcade or something, like saving people and being on it's like it's so relatable because it can be with anybody of like you're just so focused on your work and not and it's so crazy because it's relatable to me because I'm so focused on this content stuff and I forget to be like, oh, I have friends. I have, I have to go outside and interact with people. And so that I really love with the story. And I just love how Spider-Man is the central point to the X-Men, which was in the comics where he's cool with the X-Men. Sometimes they have their, they bump heads with each other, but in general, even though he wasn't born with mutant powers, he could still relate to the X-Men about like having abilities and not being liked. And so it's that, and then I just overall thought it was just a good like Peter Parker Spider-Man story that like I was just waiting for. And it's not what they did with this different from Homecoming and I would kind of even say Far From Home of like tying him to Tony because it's like yes, Tony chose him because he found out he's Spider-Man and needed him and they became like close and all that, but I like the thing of they're separating him from Tony and how Spider-Man should be is saving people by himself and then sometimes working with other heroes like Hulk and Punisher. Oh, not Hulk, but like Punisher and interacting with other characters like Hulk. So I overall thought this was like a great story. Yeah, I'm looking forward to what how like all this that happened in this story, how this impacts in the future, and like what the impact because you see, and we'll get into it, but the thing he creates in here, I'm curious to see how this is a slippery slope to what we see in the future with the X-Men and mutants.
Oh yeah. Oh yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Oh, I know it. I know exactly what you're talking about. But I agree with you. And what I liked about this is that you really see the consequences of the events of No Way Home. Is that it's not a simple, oh, he found some loophole to still be friends with the Avengers. Because, like,
yeah,
technically speaking, he probably could still be friends with the Avengers because they still remember Spider-Man. I mean, Doctor Strange established in Multiverse of Madness, they remember what happened with Spider-Man. They just don't remember he's Peter Parker. I mean, all
yeah,
Peter would have to do is take off his mask. Like, he could just literally go to Doctor Strange and take off his mask. Hi, I'm Peter Parker. Like, he could do that, but he chooses not to because he realized it's time to really do this by himself. Because the way
hmm,
I look at the first trilogy is that that's Spider-Man on training wheels. That's him on training wheels. That's his origin. And now now this is like the Spider-Man that we know. The same way that we argue with Henry Cavill's Superman is that he's learning to be Superman, and at
Yeah.
the end of the arc, he is the Superman that we know. But and that's how I feel with this one too. So that's one thing I really liked about the story, and I like seeing because he's into work because that's all he has. His aunt's
Mhm.
dead, and even if she were alive, she wouldn't remember him. His best friend and girlfriend don't remember him. He doesn't have anyone. What else does he have but work? And you see that he's afraid to get attached again. Like a girl's like
Yeah.
clearly into him. Like the girl is clearly into him,
Yeah.
and he's like, and instead of doing what any sane guy would do, he's like, "Oh, can you move me up a floor so I don't run into her?" I mean, he didn't say it like that, but we know that's why he did it, and
Mhm.
it shows the real consequences of what's happened. And I like the I like the whole grounded level Spider-Man because here's the thing, I did love the story of No Way Home. It was a great story, but it's not the kind of story you need to do 2 movies in a row. Like I think
Yeah.
after that big multiverse story, it was good for a more grounded traditional Spider-Man story that relied on him with the other characters like Punisher and Hulk, which I'm still fine with because I feel like that's something the MCU needs to do with Spider-Man because it's the one thing that really separates him from Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. He's a
Yeah.
Spider-Man in the larger Marvel universe. You don't really get that. I know there's like they say there's some implication stuff, yada yada yada, but this is the first time you directly have it, and
Mhm.
I really like that you really feel more that Spider-Man's a part of this world, but they like Punisher was such a perfect character, and we'll get into that with Punisher, but he's such a perfect character to put in there to establish the larger connection to the Marvel universe without outshining Spider-Man. Because that was like I feel like Robert Downey Jr. They had to give him such small cameos because he was the main character of Marvel at the time.
Yeah.
So you had to really basically advertise him more than actually have him in it because he would have outshone Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But it was just it was a great story all around. I really liked that. And the opening setting, I really like the opening setting in this movie. Kind of, I mean, this is kind of a little redundant with what we're talking about, but I like that it just establishes Spider-Man's in New York. He's saving the day.
Mhm.
He's fighting heroes or fighting villains and really learning to do this on his own. I think it's a great way they open the movie. Just
Yeah.
showing him just trying to live his life, buying his flowers for Aunt May, visiting Aunt May, who should be next to Uncle Ben but isn't. But we'll talk about that later. We'll
Yeah.
talk about that later. But I guess what's your thoughts on the opening setting?
Before that, what's up, DC Talk? Um, I liked it. It was a, like you said, it was a nice introduction because we see his routine because of how he's always keeping himself busy. We see his routine of go to the bodega, pick up flowers, and that's where he also picks up the news to see, what's being said and all that. Then going to drop the flowers off. Has a, I don't want to say a routine call, but like has a somewhat, I guess you could say somewhat routine with the
Grey Wolf.
detective that, yeah, that
I only know that because they have her in the Spider-Man game.
okay. So yeah, so that, and then you see the montage of him fighting these villains, and it just, it's a nice introduction to show like, yo, okay, Peter, and then even him, like, because I guess I think it's after the montage, but he's still, you see him still checking up on his friends, and just seeing like he's still in a, I guess you could say, in a funny stalkerish way, still keeping tabs on his friends while keeping his distance and doing what he needs to do. It was a
Hey,
good, it was a good opening because it's like it doesn't ignore the whole spell and people forgetting, like you said, of him being Peter Parker, and it shows that like even with that he still, it still lives up to the ending of him not handing the note to MJ, and being like, yo, like, I'm Peter, and I had this spell, blah 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 blah. So Spider-Man, I hated it. My
oh,
ratings of all Spider-Man, that's crazy. Spider-Man
Well,
I
it's your
hated is
opinion.
crazy.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say this with the whole stalking thing. That's posting this publicly on Instagram for anyone to see.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not like he's showing up in Peter's private in his home watching him from afar. Guys, come on, like.
I was saying that. Oh, okay. TJ's saying it was a joke, but yeah,
Oh, okay.
I was just saying it as a joke, as in like, yeah, he's out here stalking this. But he's just, it's just really the right way to say it is keeping tabs on his friends, seeing what they're up to, especially knowing that they got into MIT, he didn't. So he's, just seeing what their life is looking like without Peter, and just, so it was a really good opening. I really enjoyed it. And it's in the anything we miss, I'm gonna bring it up then. But I have a even though it's DC related, I have something that I like. It made me think about when I saw that opening. But yeah.
Okay. And we'll talk about that then. And one thing I'll say, maybe this is kind of with the setting. I do kind of wish that they established more a certain loophole with the spell, because one thing that I wish they kind of established with the spell, a social security number. Like I wish that, like, like I wish they kind of found some way to establish that, because how does Peter rent? How does he do anything? Like, I understand like people
Well,
not remembering him, but the government should have some records of him still. And I feel
well,
like
it's not like Peter Parker. It's not
doesn't
like Peter
exist.
Parker. Yeah, it's not like Peter Parker doesn't exist. It's just that people who knew Peter Parker, that whole knowing Peter Parker doesn't exist. Like Peter Parker still exists. It's just that like anybody that was close to Peter that knows Peter, which results to knowing Peter is Spider-Man, that is gone. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, yeah, well, because I know there was like in the extended cut of No Way Home, they don't show the Doctor Strange setup, because when that's released, it already came out, so there's no point in showing that. They actually have a really dark ending where they show either Peter's cut out of the photos, like he's just not in certain photos, or he's there. You can tell he's there, but his head's covered in some way, shape, or form. So
yeah.
I just like I know, like I kind of got that was the case, but like I just kind of wish we saw that explained a little, just like little. I don't know, like because like the spell was always confusing, because it's like because it didn't change reality, so shouldn't all of Flash's books be there? You know, the Flashpoint books. Like, did those like the spell was kind of weird in that regard, but that's a whole nother. Well, yeah, but the whole point is that the spell undid that. So, but yeah, I mean
Yep.
that's a whole.
The like it like I said, it didn't erase Peter Parker from reality. It just removed anybody that knew Peter or knows, because the beginning of the end of Far From Home and the beginning of No Way Home is Mysterio exposing
Revealing.
Spider-Man as Peter. So all it did was that spell did was remove Peter in Spider-Man, so where people don't know that Spider-Man is Peter. So anybody that was close to Peter, they don't remember Peter, and they don't remember he is Spider-Man, but they know he's Spider-Man. It doesn't. It's not like it's like a spell from Wanda where she just whoosh.
Change reality.
Peter doesn't exist in this universe, But I can understand they could explain that, or had something where it kind of like explained a little bit more. So yeah.
Yeah, and Spider-Man Peter Parker. So now I do have one little. I'm gonna get the one minor rant I have over with, and then I'll let you know your thoughts on that. I wish that they showed Peter Parker being a photographer in this movie, because that's a big part of Spider-Man's character. And the reason why I'm saying that, especially now, I mentioned a plot hole.
Mm-hmm.
How does this man pay for his apartment? How does he afford all that equipment? How does he afford that treadmill? How does he afford the flowers for Aunt May? I know there was some deleted scene where he was a delivery driver or something, but they deleted the scene. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's still a plot hole because you decided that scene was not important.
Yeah.
So I feel like they should have either kept that scene in or go with the classic. He's a photographer. I mean, to be fair though, this is still probably the most accurate he's been to Spider-Man. I mean,
Yeah.
aside from that and Uncle Ben, and we'll talk about Uncle Ben later, he's basically the Spider-Man that we all know. Like
Yeah.
he's friendly. He's a friendly neighborhood. He's on the street. He's
Mm-hmm.
like he is Spider-Man. I just feel like they should have shown him either as a photographer, and he doesn't have to be for the newspaper. Can still be for that web blog, whatever they turned the Daily Bugle in to make it more modern. But
I see somebody say if they don't, if the podcast or whatever doesn't work out with J. Jonah Jameson, then treat it like TMZ. Have the Daily Bugle be like a TMZ thing of like, report. You're still reporting news, but then you also have the on ground reporting type of thing. But if they don't do that, then I still am okay with what they did with No Way Home of that setup.
You could argue as Far From Home because technically that happened in Far From Home first in the post credit scene.
True.
But the point is, either way, they need photos, guys. They still need photos. So that was kind of my little nitpick with that. But your thoughts on Spider-Man this movie, and then also my rant too.
I'll start with your rant to get out the way. I agree. I thought they were gonna like establish, him getting a job at the Daily Bugle or at least some part in the movie, even if it's at the end of him, like, applying for it. So that I was kind of disappointed in, but the equipment he got, they established in Homecoming that he's a dumpster diver. So the stuff he got, he dumpster dives and gets. So I imagine all the equipment, including the treadmill, he got from dumpster diving. What was the other thing you said? I think that was really it. The dumpster diving and then affording the apartment. Because I was the same way. In the flowers, yeah. Because I was like, because I know rent is cheap in the MCU New York because of how much stuff happens in New York. So I imagine the rent is low, but still, you still need money to pay even for low rent. So I was like, how's he making money? Like what? How are you able to go to the bodega and get these, flowers for Aunt May all the time? So yeah, I wish they, even if it was in Daily Bugle, even like you said, it was the delivery, him being a delivery driver, I wish that was put in there. Because that would have, because I think that's the only, I want to say that's the only plot hole I have with that film. Because
there's other plot holes that exist if you don't watch the movie, but we'll talk about those later. They're not really plot holes. They're just people like people forgot that MJ said Peter to Ned, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Yeah, but other than the rent stuff, right? I enjoyed it. I loved the Peter Parker Spider-Man dynamic. This, I would like to say, like even the other movies, I was like, I think that he is the good Peter Parker and Spider-Man, but this really solidified that because this, and funny enough, this came out the same year as the Odyssey, which is Tom Holland playing characters that are becoming a man, going from boy to manhood, and this was Peter entering his manhood and being Spider-Man, so
and also having a relationship with John Bernthal, a somewhat big brother relationship.
Big brother, yeah.
And also being in the same movie as Zendaya too. But okay, but go on. Just want to point out some of those ironic.
But yeah, I love those factors, like Peter still being smart and still using his mind and figuring out how to fix certain stuff that we'll talk about later in the stream. But the Peter Parker aspect, especially him going out, still visiting Aunt May's grave. It's not like they I love that it's not like this movie we are from No Way Home, we know she dies, and then this movie we just forget about her. I love that. And even like I said, we're gonna talk about later in here, but how they keep incorporating her in this, which I really loved. And then the Spider-Man aspect. Oh, the suit. The suit, yo, I still love Toby's suit. Toby's suit is still my favorite suit. And then Andrew's the first Amazing Spider-Man suit. I love this. Amazing suit. And I was worried about the raised web. I was worried about like they weren't gonna have the raised web on the suit, but when you watch the film, you see the raised web, especially with the lighting hits the black. Oh my god, it looks amazing. And then just the Spider-Man factors and all this, like I just love how the web swing got better, the use of like the fighting and how he maneuvers and fights in here. I love, even though I wish they did the man spider, but I can understand people have a fear of spiders and kids are going to see this film. So it's, it'd be a little too much for kids, but I do love they incorporate somewhat of the what's it called? The man spider aspect with the arachnid, what do they call it? Arachnid hormones.
Yeah, the erected hormones, the black eyes, the webs, which I like that they did mention Peter too with that, because it was such a
Yeah.
natural way to bring it up. Because like I wouldn't be for like a forced reference, but at that point,
Mhm.
not bringing up Peter 2 would have felt more like a plot hole than like don't go don't mention them for the sake of mentioning them, but don't go out of your way to not mention them in a time where they definitely would be mentioned. But
Yeah, like don't act like what happened in no like don't act like most of the stuff in No Way Home didn't happen, and the only thing you take away from No Way Home is the spell. Like I'm with you. I love that he mentions the other Peter, the other Peter that he met. So I yeah, I love that, man. This man, I'm gonna try to see it again this either this weekend or next week, because man, this man, it like I said, Daniel like he and I hate to like dump on John Watts, but Daniel did the thing that I wanted from his Spider-Man. Like Tom Holland Spider-Man, I was like, Tom is the perfect casting. He is perfect for Peter and Spider-Man, but John is not bringing what I'm wanting from this Spider-Man. And Daniel was like, here, John set it up from No Way Home. Here, I'll complete it by himself, doing the Spider-Man stuff. We still got to get the Daily Bugle, which I imagine we'll get it with Spider-Man 5, and you know, and him interacting with other characters in the MCU, the
Daredevil,
whole thing.
maybe,
Yeah,
because they need to bring
hopefully
in
Daredevil.
Kingpin.
Yeah,
Because
hopefully
they need
if they can get the not the rights, but the permission.
Well, I mean, technically they should be able to get permission because he's shared between Marvel and Sony, and I mean, the Spider-Man movies are literally a Marvel and Sony movie. I mean, there should be no easier thing for him to appear in, than the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
But I like what you said, because one thing I'll agree with you on is that before Far From Home, my favorite performance of Tom Holland as Spider-Man was Civil War, and I have my issues with the movie Civil War. I mean, but that's a whole nother
Mhm,
rant. But one thing I'll say, I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man in that movie. I think that he really shined as Spider-Man. Now,
mhm,
I will say though, I did rewatch not Far From Home, Homecoming, before seeing Brand New Day, and this is the first time I've seen it after seeing Far From Home, or not Far From Home, No Way Home.
mhm,
And I will say it has a different feel when you see it, because now it does feel like, one thing I will say though is that I think in some ways seeing Homecoming kind of makes us Brand New Day even better, Because one thing I will say is you see this Spider-Man who's so dependent on Tony Stark, who is just wants to fit in with the Avengers so much, wants to fit in, and is like missing all his other commitments to the point to now where he's like he's making careless mistakes. Whereas now he's got this down. He's got this down. He just is doing his Spider-Man thing, and I feel like that's what makes I feel like that makes it even better. And I will say one thing. I will say though, one thing that a lot of people will hate me for saying. There's one aspect of Tom Holland that both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Now I won't say failed at because that's not their fault.
Mm-hmm.
He actually looks like the age that his character is. I mean, that's something
fair.
It drives me insane when I watch these shows. Even Smallville did this too, where you have these 20 and 30-year-olds playing high schoolers. Like, stop doing that. That's weird. They don't look like that. Like Tom Holland actually looks like the age that his character is. Because I mean, I know he's still a little bit older than his character. I mean, yeah, I don't mind if it's a little bit older. It's just I just have to
have the look,
make
the believable look. Yeah, I feel that. I understand that. Like the one critique, and I love Man of Steel, and Man of Steel, to me, it has no flaws. But the one thing the only criticism I do have is I do wish they kept Dylan Sprayberry, who played younger Clark, to be in that scene with Kevin Costner in the tornado scene instead of. But I understand why Zach had Henry be in that scene, but I wish it was Dylan. And then, but hey, it's not a big complaint to me, but I'm the same way with you. I wish it just they had that believable, oh, he's still in high school or about to get in high school. Yeah.
Like, Tom Holland's the only Spider-Man who captures that. I mean, I'm sorry, Tobey Maguire did not look like he was in high school. Andrew Garfield didn't. I mean, he looked more like he was in high school.
But he looked like more like senior about to go to college type of, yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, in Amazing Spider-Man 2, that's exactly what he was.
No, yeah, but in the first movie, it's like you look like you're about to graduate, Then what was he like was he a junior in that or a sophomore?
He's probably a junior because I don't think he was, because I still feel like in Amazing Spider-Man 2, I don't think it took place that much after the first one. I don't think it was like a year. I still feel like it was within the year time frame.
Okay.
But yeah, I do feel that this is something that Tom Holland did better. And I like seeing him be the Spider-Man that we know. Like, even with the mutant thing, he's learning to deal with the mutant powers, but he's handling it scientifically. I like that. But I like that, like, Tom Holland has grown a lot as an actor. Like, I saw him in The Odyssey. He was phenomenal in this movie. A big scene with Tom's acting. That rooftop scene when Jean Grey takes over MJ, and you see the rage when Peter's holding, the rage in his eyes when he's like using the woman that he loves against him. Like, he's like, that was really good acting right there. Like, and it's hard because I always worry that he's gonna hurt MJ. Like, are you gonna hurt MJ? Because that's still like MJ in there. That's still her body, and I'm like worrying it. But it's like, I mean, I feel like they wouldn't do that because I feel like if he hurts MJ, it's hard to redeem yourself after that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mean like occasional. How do I say this where I don't get canceled? I don't mean occasional things you have to do to restrain her, even if it may physically hurt her, to either stop her from doing something dangerous or saving someone else. I don't mean that. I mean something that will genuinely kill her or permanently scar her. Like for example, I could. Oh God, how I'm gonna get canceled for saying this. Like, if let's say that he didn't have his web fluid and she was about to jump off a brick, like a rooftop. Like, I could, forgive Peter punching her to knock her out to save her life.
Yeah.
Not that I do not condone violence against women. I do not. But in the case of saving,
but to save her because she's under mind control, you gotta knock her out. Which, understandable. It's understandable. Like, it's
but choking her on the rooftop though, there's no need for that. So I'm concerned. I mean, Tom Holland captures that so well. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a this was another great scene, and he solves everything the way and like the way he still wants to help Jean Grey after everything. After everything. Like he
And
said
I
he would
think
forgive her. He did say
I
that.
and I'm not gonna. I feel like that was kind of a like a kind of a callback to No Way Home with him dealing with the Green Goblin.
Oh, yeah, because Green Goblin killed Aunt May, but he
Yeah,
still wanted to save Norman Osborn.
yeah.
So,
Or not even
or
just save, but like it took Toby, even Andrew, but mostly Toby to stop him and be like, yo, it's not like
it's not worth it. It's
it's
not going to
not
bring her
worth
back.
like yeah, it's not gonna bring her back and it's not gonna make you feel any better. And with this, I feel like
He
that
learned from that.
yeah, he learned from that. It stayed with him of like instead of not saying kill her, but like instead of hurting her or whatever, try to redirect her in the right direction, especially finding out, and we'll get to it when we get to it, finding out what happened at the toward the end of it, the end of the movie. But yeah, this state, like we call him DDC, Daniel Destin Creedon, he like him, and then the writers, because I found out who the and I don't remember the names, but I saw the post about the writers who wrote Spider-Man Brand New Day and about how they had a different perspective that I guess other people didn't have for this Spider-Man slash Peter Parker. So shout out to the writers too, because this felt they did their thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And but also another character who I really liked is MJ. And I know a lot of people have issues that she's married. Well, I mean, other than having the last name Watson and her initials being MJ, she's not really Mary Jane. Like, there's nothing about this character that's Mary Jane other than having the last name Watson. Like, I consider her a semi-original character, but and that's how I'm trying to look at her. But I do love Zendaya in this movie too.
Mhm.
I feel like what they did with her. I feel like they did a good job of resetting up their relationship
Yeah.
without undoing the spell because nah, that mean rooftop scene, that meme, that I was like, fuck you to the movie when they said MJ hugging Peter and be like, oh my god, you're Peter.
Oh
I remember
yeah.
you now. The kiss did the spell. And on one hand, I was like, oh, this is so cliche. This is like,
Yeah,
this is a movie
I
that
was like, it just took the kiss, but then but it wasn't the kiss. It was wasn't it? Didn't he take off the mask? Like he took off
yeah,
the
he took off the
mask.
mask.
So I
Oh,
thought because I'm thinking like comics wise. Oh, he took off the mask. They see Peter's face. Boom, it comes back. So that's how I was like, oh, he took the mask off. Oh my god, she's back. And then they just said a reverse fuck you. Like no, this is Jean talking to you. And I'm like, oh my god. And I love how they did that because in the film, and I know we'll get to it, but in the film, they show how Jean jumps bodies, and you could tell, okay, that's Jean. That's Jean. That's not the normal. That's Jean. You get to we're not thinking she got the MJ. So we get the MJ, and even the audience is just like, this is not MJ. This is still this is Jean. Jean managed to make her way to him. Oh yeah, that that was a gut punch. I was like, no way, bro.
no, yeah, I know, but yeah, I mean, it's what I liked about MJ's character though is that I like that she knows he's Spider-Man. She knows she can trust him as Spider-Man. But what I liked how they did that is they didn't have her fall in love with Peter. She's like, "Hey, I don't know you. I'm not this person anymore." But what I liked about that, she was willing to give him the chance to earn that back. That's what
Yeah,
I liked how they did that direction. She's like, obviously I did love this person at one point, and I like that they didn't go the direction of either extreme where they're like, okay, I don't want you to see you anymore, or they didn't go the direction of, oh, I'm in love with you again. They're like, she's like, hey, why don't you come upstairs? Why don't you say hi to Ned? Why, like even revealing to Ned that his name's Peter. Like I question if she really did that on accident. I have a feeling she didn't really do that on accident. I think I think she did that on purpose. I think she pretended like it was when she called him Peter. I think she did that on purpose. I don't think she did that on accident. She definitely did that on purpose.
Because I think she did it on purpose because I think even the spell still affecting her of like it's that like kind of like having two lives, like the before pre spell and then after spell. And I think the after spell is just still more prevalent to the pre, and because you see it throughout it, she's remembering because of and we'll talk about Jean later, but with Jean's powers, you're starting to see her remember, like her being on the rooftop. Then you see her when she's frozen with everybody else, tears coming down. Not because she's scared, but because she's remembered. But she's still a different person, even with the memories coming back. And I think to her, it's like, look, I may not still be the same MJ before, but the thing I can try to do is give you your best friend. Because it still took Peter to go to Ned and get him to remember. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree. I like, but like again, it's like she didn't go the either extreme. She still, because you also got to remember, they still remember Spider-Man. They still said Spider-Man saved them countless times, so
Yeah.
it makes sense that she trusts Spider-Man. And the fact that Spider-Man was was saving her from Jean Grey and like hiding her at Punisher's houseboat. Like I don't know what, I don't want to call that a house. Like that was like a shipyard that he was living in, but you know what I mean. His home, Punisher's home.
Oh yeah, the shipyard. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. The
Yeah.
shipyard, and that's one thing I've really that. And I loved how she is like the one person who's not afraid of Punisher. That she's not afraid of Frank Castle.
Yeah, that's what I really enjoy too. Of like, and like even with Frank just being like, I see why you like her. Like, just even the whole like, so you're not gonna go and help him. You're just gonna let him go by himself, and just like like, because she was even like that before of just like being like, I'm not scared of you. Like, we can we can treat each other like normal people, but I'm not scared of you. Like just because you're the Punisher, like you're not gonna hurt me because I wouldn't be here if you're gonna hurt me. So it's just even then like just the whole like I don't know. I just like how she's a morally right character. Because like the thing about the Raimi movies is I didn't like how that MJ was in there. So with this,
Yeah,
it's like a fresher breath air of like, okay, there's a reason why she's not with Peter, and she's still like she's an MJ. You look at it and be like, if I was Peter Parker, I can understand why I would be with her. So whereas like and none against Kristen Dunst, but her MJ
she
was
was
just
written
like,
terribly.
yeah.
She wasn't like, the problem is she was a love interest. She wasn't a character. She was a love interest. Like that's
True.
the only thing about this character is that she was a love interest.
Hmm.
But whereas MJ and is that she actually felt like she had her own personality, and that is one thing I will give her. And again, I don't blame Kristen Dunst. I do think movies. It was one of the first Spider-Man movies. It was the first it was one of the first superhero movies are still evolving during that time. So I can
Yeah.
like I understand why it was like that. I do
Hmm.
get that. Like they were trying to just establish the hero and the villain, and anyone else was just anyone else. But I do think they did a good job. I do think as movies evolved, they did a good job making her own character. But one thing I liked how they do the balance. Like she was able to help Peter with a problem with like the whole mutant thing. It's like, oh, why don't you put it like your goggles are interfering with it. I like that she was
Hmm.
able to help him, but not outshining him. I like that it wasn't like a whole
Yeah.
MCU situation. And honestly, I don't really think the MCU was really that big a thing aside from like 2 projects. But that's
It
another.
to me the only issue I had with the MCU was the in game stuff.
What up, Sky?
What's up, Scott?
Oh yeah,
Or
yeah,
not the
yeah,
MCU, the in-game stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
that was
That
the only. I think that was the only, and even maybe She Hulk. But other than that, I don't have a problem with anything else. It was just I didn't like how they did that whole scene. It's funny enough. Funny enough. Speaking of Spider-Man having to
was
hand it
there,
over
and he
to
just
them.
stood.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
so, like, that was just weird. That was, yep, yep. I agree. I totally
I
agree.
I don't mind so much of the Captain Marvel. It's really She Hulk. Yeah, the Marvels. I give you the Marvels because I still say that wasn't Nia
I don't think it was like,
DaCosta's. That wasn't Nia DaCosta's film because you could tell when watching the Marvels there was stuff missing. And I was like, yeah, she got the I guess she got the Feige treatment or whatever of having to cut down stuff. So, but yeah,
but
Captain
one thing I will,
Marvel. But yeah, no, go
I
ahead.
think, I think Captain Marvel had other issues besides the female thing. I think it was just a badly written. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Fair.
I'll give you that.
I just forgot who the villain was, honestly. So I didn't even think of it as a page. The villain was so forgettable I didn't even notice. But anyways, one minor thing I will notice is that MJ's boyfriend. Like, here's what I find funny. I don't think the actor's really that tall. Like, I think because he's the guy who plays Ezra in Ahsoka.
Oh, that's the same dude.
Yes, that's the same dude. And
Ah,
I couldn't find this picture because I just saw this just now, but I took a picture with that actor in
hmm
Fan Expo Chicago back in 2024, and I recall being taller than him. I think I think I was taller than him in that photo. So
hmm.
you know what? Let me just double check my social media real quick. But the point of that, so like where I'm going with this, I'm 5'11".
Hmm.
Or according to a doctor's report, I'm 5'10.87". Zendaya is 5'11", and he looked taller than MJ in that photo. So what I'm
Wait,
wondering is
Zendaya's 5'11".
yeah,
Damn, she tall. She taller than
yeah,
me. What?
she's taller than Tom Holland.
No, I
Like
get that because how tall is Tom Holland?
he's 5'8", or he's 5'7.5".
Okay, I'm taller than him, but hey, she taller. Okay, all right, all right.
Like, I mean, okay, so this photo I'm looking at right now with the actor who plays Ezra and myself and MJ's boyfriend. I mean, he could just be bending down, but like my point is though, I think they made him look taller because like when Zendaya hugs Peter, or I guess it's not really, or when MJ hugs Peter or MJ hugs Peter, it's
Mm-hmm.
still Zendaya and Tom Holland. You can like in that hug, you can literally tell how much taller she is than him. But
Yeah.
my point is, I'm wondering, did they make him look taller because if Peter's gonna get jealous of MJ, like I'm not like I do think it kind of helps. Like I'm curious with this comment. I know. I mean, if she's taller than me, it's like by half an inch. But yeah, I'm tall, guys. People don't know this. I am tall. I mean, Sky knows this because we've seen each other. But I don't want to get my point though to kind of get us back on track here. I think they made him look taller than he actually is because they wanted to make Peter jealous of MJ. And since MJ's taller than Peter, and they didn't hide that, the MCU totally embraced MJ being taller than Peter. Because sometimes they'll do
Yeah.
that with shows or movies. They'll make someone look taller even though they're not. They didn't do that at all with Tom Holland and Zendaya. They embraced it. So
Hmm.
I think her boyfriend being taller than her makes while he's shorter than her, I think it's just a small little thing that kind of adds to the dynamic of him being jealous of her. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just being realistic with how people perceive things, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so wait, hold on. I just want to just double check this. How tall is the actor who plays Ezra in Ahsoka? Who play? Oh my god. Okay. Because I just want to make sure I'm not saying something inaccurate here, but I'm just saying, like, Oh no, he's 5'11". He's actually 5'11". Maybe he was just bending down then.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, and I mean, and that's easy to hide. Zendaya, just don't wear your heels for this one scene.
Yeah.
But I did find it interesting though how they made him look a lot like he felt like he looked a lot taller than her in that one scene he was in, and he's just credited as Zendaya as MJ's boyfriend or the boyfriend, as I think is what he's credited. But it was just a small little thing that I kind of noticed there. So,
Mm.
but I don't know. I like MJ as a character. I like MJ
Same.
as
I like MJ. Like I get that this isn't the traditional MJ with the red hair, and like I still like this version of MJ. Like it, this is a
dye her hair
believable.
at least.
Yeah, and they could, but I at the same time I don't mind it either if they don't dye it. I don't. It doesn't. At least to me, I know other people have their whole thing of like her hair's not red. It's not. But
I
to me,
mean,
I'm just like,
and I've always liked MJ being taller than Peter, honestly, though. I feel like it's just like I feel like for a character like Spider-Man, I feel like it really works, honestly, because it like the whole nerd vibe.
yeah, yeah. And it's the how did he get with her type of thing, and yeah,
Right, yeah, because I mean people and again, I'm not saying, I totally embrace people who date women taller than them, no issues, but I'm not stupid. Society does judge things like that. Like
No, they
society is
do,
going to
they do.
so
Because people be like, why is she with a short dude and not with another tall person, And yeah,
and I love that they
but
embrace it in real life too.
yeah, I and that's the other cool thing that like they're in a relationship
They're
in
married.
real life. Yeah, they're married, so like it's
They're not
cool to see that they're playing characters that have a loving relationship too. Even with this being like her not being fully with Peter. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see how this plays out and all that.
makes the relationship more believable, I feel like. But
Mm-hmm.
now I have another little rant I want to talk about, a small little rant.
Oh,
Jean Grey, in general, I like this character, okay? I like the arc they went with her. I just feel like in the beginning of the movie, they should have had her not kill people unnecessarily, like the guy who got ran over by the taxi cab.
uh, I'm. Hmm, I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted on that because I could see why people have a problem with that because it makes her look
More
more of
evil.
a more evil.
Because he was
But
a bystander. He wasn't like, if it was like someone from like the DODC, I would have been more forgiving of it. But like a random bystander, and I mean, and not even like getting caught in like the crossfire. I mean, like
mhm.
deliberately possessing him or mind controlling him, whatever. And but
But he's not dead though, right? We don't. Is he
I
alive or is he like
I don't
confirmed?
know if they ever established, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you survive. I mean, I guess you
Because
could
like
technically.
the reason I'm saying I'm conflicted is because it. I think that scene. I guess not that scene, but like I don't know. Like it was kind of needed because Jean is showing Spider-Man like, yo, you stop getting in my way, or I'm gonna like start hurting people, not just random people. I'm gonna start hurting people close to you, and him stopping Scorpion, which she was gonna use Scorpion to get to the DODC, um, and then finding out late at toward the end of the film of why she was doing all this. I don't know. It was kind of like not saying it was a valid in terms of morality, but it was a valid creative choice because Jean was gonna do anything to get her sister back. So Spider-Man just kept getting in the way of that. So I could kind of see, like, I could see and understand where people's issues with it, but also I can understand it from a creative aspect because at the end of the day, like if we're gonna be so for real, all the X-Men aren't like,
Perfect.
are perfect or saints, because I think if I had to be if I had to put a percentage, probably 99% sure all of them killed somebody, even if it was unintentional that they killed somebody or hurt somebody. So I think this is just like, and it also sets up for, like I said, in the future for X-Men and other mutants to be hated on because of the abilities they have, and the abilities they have, that how they use it, and the abilities they have that they can't control. So that's my kind of aspect on it. But I understand your gripe with that, because it's like I can see how it's like, oh, this is out of place, but at the same time, she hasn't found Professor X yet. It took Spider-Man to talk her down from, killing, to be like, yo, like,
And Aunt May.
yeah, and Aunt May, yeah, and Aunt May, to be like, yo, this is not how you're supposed to do this and go about stuff. So yeah, like,
And I do have one criticism, that one plot hole that's not really a plot hole. People are saying, "How did she reach MJ? She's old. She was more than 33 feet away from her. Clearly, they established this. If you watch the film, her sister clearly said that no matter what, you can go back to your point of origin. This was
mm-hmm,
said in the movie. This was said. They said this. If you watch the film, that's not a plot hole. See, this is what I call a plot hole that's not a plot hole if you actually watch the film. And
yeah,
you guys should be defending a Marvel film like this, guys. I'm used to doing this stuff with Zack Snyder's DC films. I didn't think
yeah,
I'd be doing this with the MCU, but here I am doing this with the MCU. Watch the film. They explain this.
yeah, they do. And then it doesn't, and even then, it's like it doesn't take away. She's still jumping from person to person to person. So even it being arranged, she's not that. At least with Zendaya, or not Zendaya, sorry, with MJ, she's not that far away to be controlling MJ. Just because she's not on screen, like the whole point was just to get that shock factor of, oh, MJ's being controlled. They're not going to show her, I don't know, 20 feet away, because the 30 feet is the limit. 20 feet away in some building hiding,
No, no,
controlling
no.
her.
You just did it coming a mile away. I mean,
Yeah.
and to me, again, they don't need to because they literally explained it in the flashback with the sister. It's like, hey, you have to be 33 feet away from the next person, but you can always reset back no matter what. That
Mm-hmm.
was said in the movie. It's not, you just had to pay attention. That's
Yeah.
it. Paid attention. But that's another rant against the audience and in defense of the film. But
I
yeah,
seen that.
guys, believe it or
I,
not, Batman will defend a Marvel film if it's being treated unfairly. Even if I'm biased towards DC, Batman is fair. I always try to be fair.
I seen somebody tweet about, like, they didn't understand the VMAX thing, and I'm like, bro,
It
they
was so
literally they literally
perfect.
explained it to you, like, yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's all she sees, so she assumes it's some drug, and then when she sees what it is, she's heartbroken. I love
mhm,
that actually, and I'm someone who hates the whole cat scratch in Captain Marvel, but like I feel like with this, it
yeah,
actually worked. This was a better way of subverting the expectations and making it feel like nothing because it works for the story. She's so desperate to find her sister and finding out that no, her sister's dead, and that was just the last thing she saw was just the vent, like the vent max and the ENT being taped off. Like it was so perfect. I love that. Like you and like Sadie Sink's another great actress. I really love
yeah,
like she did such a great job portraying this character. I mean, aside from the whole, the taxi cab thing, I
yeah,
do like that she had good character development. That seeing like getting in Peter's mind, seeing that he's alone too. It's not just her. I mean, he's also alone,
yeah.
and like seeing that and getting those inspirational words from Aunt May. What up, Leon?
What's up, Leon?
It was so. it was so perfect. I guess, what are some other thoughts you have about Jean Grey?
I like how even though they portrayed her as like a protagonist, or no, not protagonist, antagonist.
Antagonist.
Yeah, thank you. They even though they portrayed her as an antagonist, um, I do like the resolution of it being Peter, or Aunt May being the one talking to her to revert her, and then her at the toward the end before she leaves, basically in her own way of like, I can understand people being like, she did all this, she should be locked up or whatever, but I do like that she, at least in her own way, tried to make amends to it, even though she still has a long way to go to make amends for what she did. It's still a good starting point for her, and this is just the beginning for her, instead of it like, because I've seen people complain about it, and I'm like, you're looking at it like this is the end all be all for her, instead of it like kind of like Ben Affleck's Batman. People see him killing and all that, and they're like, even though that is different from her in the sense of he's been Batman for a long time, and he is going into darkness, slipping into darkness and all that. Still, even in the similarity with that of, they think him killing and being this way is the end all be all, instead of it being like, hey, this is just a rough patch we see this character in, and they go from here, and they're on a whole journey to becoming the person we've always known them as in the comics. So like with her, she doesn't have no Professor X.
I mean, she will. She's clearly going upstate.
Yeah. And I forgot where I said this, and I don't know if it was a tweet or whatever, but I've said there's no Professor X. There's no X Mansion yet. There's no X-Men yet. She's on her own. She lost her sister. She's trying to find her sister, and she's doing all this, and she knows that her sister was taken. Like, this isn't like they're trying to, I don't know, some people are looking at it as, oh, she should just be Jean Grey already, and it's like, no, that's not how that works. Exactly.
I mean, I'll say this too. That's one miss that the old X-Men movies had with Hugh Jackman and Halle Berry, and who played Jean?
I
I her name.
always forget her name too. And me and the homie Cam were just talking about this too. Because she has like at least to me, it's a weird last name.
Okay, I'm terrible with Famiki Jansen. Okay, well, I know I pronounced this wrong, guys. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But one thing I will say with those old X-Men movies, they were Wolverine movies with the X-Men as supporting characters. Let's just be honest here. So we didn't really get to see their character development because it was all about Wolverine. It's kind of nice to see this, this character. Now, granted, I know Hugh Jackman's going to be Wolverine. I pray to God, one thing I'm not going to lie, I'm a little concerned about is, are they going to
yeah. You said it right. Yeah. Because Femke Jansen. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I can't pronounce that right. But yeah, Femke Jansen. But like, one thing I'll say, we don't get to see their character development. They're all just established as they are. Like, and that was an issue I had with those old films. Like, I mean, yes, I like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, but like, let's make the other X-Men characters too, not just side characters. So it's nice to see that, but I am a little concerned. I hope that, are they going to have another Wolverine that's, because that Wolverine and Jean Grey have, there's a relationship or like an unrequited love or something. Are they going to have a different like Wolverine for the MCU then? Because Hugh Jackman.
I think so, because there was mentions of a guy with claws in, was it Miss Marvel? It was in an article or in a like on a piece of paper, a news piece of paper, either
yeah.
in I think it was either Miss Marvel. I think it was Miss Marvel because I'm trying to think it's She-Hulk, but I think it was Miss Marvel. But
I think
it
it's because
says
they had her be a mutant too.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, they had it where it said like a guy with uh like knives in his hands, or knives in his hands, as in a bar brawl. So I think they're gonna have a different Wolverine. I think Hugh Jackman's Wolverine run is gonna end with Secret Wars. So it's
Well,
just who's
who
gonna
knows?
play Wolverine and win, you know.
Except Ryan Reynolds saying that he's going to do it till he's 90.
Yeah, but
I'm sure that. I mean, who knows? Maybe they will do that, but I mean, it's the multiverse, so there's ways they can. There's ways they can make that work. But I think they did a good job of really using that to set up the mutant saga, because that's next. Supposedly after the multiverse saga is the mutant saga,
mhm,
which I think will be good for the MCU because they can focus on more popular characters again and not all these
yeah.
side characters. That was like so. It will be interesting. It will be interesting, but I like Jean Grey as a character, but now I want to show this meme. Now I understand why it's like this, but I think it's kind of funny though. So oh god, no, I can't. It won't let me actually. Oh wait, no, I have to do this as an image. Never mind. I have to do this as an. Hold on. I used the background, not the image. I was wondering why it wasn't letting me. Okay, this should actually do it correctly now. Wait, what background are you seeing right now? Are you seeing a blank? Oh, you know why? You're seeing a blank background because I switched it.
Yeah.
Okay. So this right here, it's a little chipped off, but if you've ever seen the human resources meme,
Yeah, I've
don't
seen this.
kill. Aw, you're sweet. I mean, I will say, I mean, that means 100% accurate, but it's also true. It also makes sense for Frank's character, though, because he's always had a soft spot for the kids, for the young ones. Now, granted,
Yeah.
I know Peter Parker's technically an adult, but from Punisher's perspective, he's still a kid. So it makes perfect sense. And also, people pointed out that Matt's a lot more of a self-righteous douchebag about it to
Yeah,
Punisher guys than.
if you look at Punisher, there was that was the second season. He was with a young girl, and he was even soft with her. Same thing with this. It's no different with this. He like with the girl in Punisher season 2, he saw as a daughter. With this, he sees him as a younger brother, or even a younger son, or a son he wish grew up to be like this. And then what you said with Daredevil, yeah, he's like, do people forget what happened in Netflix's Daredevil in season 2, where he's talking to Punisher on the roof? That like, of course, he's gonna have a different attitude towards Daredevil than Spider-Man. Spider-Man isn't being a dick about it. Daredevil, he's being a dick about it. Even with Born Again, where he goes and finds Daredevil, or sorry, not Daredevil. He goes and finds Punisher. Yo, the first thing they do when they're talking to, they start having this like swinging their big dick competition, like who has the biggest dick thing. Like, bro, like you expect him to be like have this same relationship with Spider-Man with Daredevil? Like, are we watching the same? Are we watching the same stuff? Like, what are we doing? Like, so yeah. When I saw that, I laughed because I was like, that's so true. Because that's literally how it is with Spider-Man. It's just like, yeah, it's an older brother, younger brother arguing with each other, but Spider-Man's not being a dick about it. He's if anything is, and that's what makes Spider-Man, where he's likable. Spider-Man is likable no matter who he's around. Even if there's other characters that don't really like Spider-Man, once they interact with them and they're around him, they start that energy and that personality he brings is infectious. Like people just gravitate toward him and be like, yeah, Spider-Man's cool. Even Wolverine of all people, he how Wolverine is, even with Spider-Man, he's still like, yeah, he's Spider-Man's still a good dude. Spider-Man is somebody I would trust. So yeah. So it makes perfect sense why Punisher is softer with Spider-Man than, Daredevil or anybody else.
Just because it's funny, just because I find this funny. But yeah, it is hilarious. But and I do like, and what I like about the whole dynamic too is I like that even though Spider-Man doesn't agree with his methods, one thing I really liked is that he still knew Punisher well enough that he trusted. He left MJ with him. He left the woman he loves with him. So obviously he
Mm-hmm.
trusted him. Like that's not a
Yeah.
minor thing. Like the woman that he loves, you're trusting her in his hands. But because he knows Punisher, because he's able to read Punisher and know that he will not harm her, that he cares about innocent lives, no matter how reckless he gets with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do like I feel like one thing that was a little nerve-wracking is that he's an R-rated character in a PG-13 movie, but I didn't really feel like he was toned down in this movie.
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel like he was less of who he was. It's just people are different versus when they're around different people. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a point where he was going to drop the F bomb, and then Peter did his nope. This is a PG-13 movie web of the mouth, webbing his mouth.
Yeah. He
But
even was gonna cuss when he was facing the Hulk. Even then, he was
oh,
like, and then they cut it. Like so
I
it's a
it definitely more
natural.
for Spider-Man, the F bomb. But
Yeah.
but yeah, but I get what you're saying though. It's a natural thing for Punisher, and I I, I like that that when he fought Hulk, because this is the first time you really see him actually interacting with the MCU. Because
Yeah.
before this, you don't really he's just even when he was in like the Disney Plus shows that are more connected to the MCU, you still only see him interact with Daredevil and
And
Karen and
Karen, yeah.
but you don't
That's
really see him interact with like MCU proper Karen. I know it's all MCU, but you know what I mean. Like this is like the first time you
yeah,
see him
the
interact with
the main heroes that we, you know,
so
would
like
see him
him
with.
fighting Hulk was so perfect because like it was a little comedic, sure, but it makes sense for Punisher's character because he's like he takes down mob bosses. This is the
Yeah.
freaking Hulk. Like unless you're Batman, a mortal does not have the ability to fight the Hulk. Which I do have that comic. I do. Batman did beat the Hulk. Just pointing that out there. Just pointing that out there. But I liked how they did that. I liked how I like that he still came to help Peter. Now, granted, I was
Yeah.
thinking this is kind of stupid because won't Jean Grey take over his mind if he comes help her? Yep, that's exactly what she did.
Yeah. I thought in the trailer he was gonna have some type of like immunity. I don't know why, or I don't say I don't know why, but I thought she wouldn't be able to get through. But I do like that when she went in his head, he's like, oh, this guy got issues. Like this dude went through some things. Like so yeah. So but it makes sense though also that why would Frank have an immunity? I guess if the only immunity would be just I don't want to be in this guy's mind because it's dark and depressing.
I feel like Jean Grey is not. That would make Jean Grey look kind of weak, honestly. I mean, I know it's
Yeah.
Punisher, but I feel like for Jean Grey it makes sense. But I really, and I think again, I think Punisher's a big reason why this movie did well too, because again, you connected Marvel, in my opinion, to a really strong era. Because this is the first time we really see a proper crossover between movie Marvel and Netflix Marvel.
Hmm.
Because I know, again, I know you see it in No Way Home, and you could even argue in Hawkeye, but in No Way Home, it's a cameo. In Hawkeye, he doesn't interact with Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye, so he still doesn't. So you don't really see that move. This is like the first time you really see that Netflix movie TV show interaction, or the movie Netflix TV show interaction. And yes, I'm still calling it Netflix. Sorry, but so it was a really great dynamic. Anything else you want to say about Punisher?
Nah, other than that, I think John Berthal is the perfect cast as Punisher. I've always liked him since Daredevil season 2. So I'm glad they kept him as Punisher, and I can't wait to see what else they put him in and what else they do with him, because him playing as Frank Castle is just like, I don't know. I you know how sometimes people have like their idea of like their casting for somebody to play a certain character. With Frank Castle, there's that, and then you have characters who you look at that they cast, you're like, I don't know who better to pick. I think this is to me at least, is a perfect pick. So yeah.
There's actually an interview with John Bernthal where he's at one of the NBC interviews, like NBC shows, I forget which one, but he was talking about how he was in New York and he bought all these comics, and he was cast as Punisher, but he hadn't played him yet.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy at the comic book store, he basically said, "You're not taking this one. You're not taking this one. You're not taking this one. You need to read this, this, and this. Do not mess this up." I've watched that video so many times, and I love that. I love how that comic book guy, he's like, "Don't read this stuff. Read this stuff."
Yeah.
So it was,
which I wish some other actors would go through that also. Not saying in the MCU, but just in general in comic book movie,
and not just reading a comic book for a photo shoot. I mean, actually reading the comic books. But
yeah,
anyway, let's move on to Ned Leeds, who, I just want to say this. This is another imaginary plot hole that, I mean, and since it's not completely said that Jean Grey went in their minds, I'm just going to say it like, I'm just going to go talk about this one like she's not for now. Or like that she didn't jog her memories. MJ called him Peter, okay? And Ned doing that handshake is muscle memory. When he introduced himself as Peter, he made the connection because he just saw Spider-Man, who was named Peter, and had an idea they were friends. This is established again. This is what I call a plot hole that's only a plot hole if you don't pay attention to the film.
No, that's facts.
So, what's your thoughts on that?
I don't have too much other than it's Ned. I like them in the other films. I like them in here. It shows I love the aspect of, even without Peter, he's still thriving, but even then you can still tell with his character and even with him that there's something missing. Even with seeing him being obsessed with Spider-Man, you can still tell there's this like itch or this weird thorn in his side of like something is still missing. Like, everything's going good. I'm at MIT. I got these other friends. You hear him say he's doing these different social activities, but it's still like there's something missing. And I appreciate that it's same thing with the MJ thing of like they're not ignoring not just knowing him, but Homecoming and Far From Home, the relationships Peter had with them, and then even like with the spell happening, showing that, hey, these people, they may not know what is wrong or what happened, but there's still a memory or a muscle memory or whatever of something's missing, which is Peter. So I appreciate that the writers and Daniel brought that out and showed that. But other than that, it's not much I can say with Ned other than that, like, I like his character. I've always liked his character, so yeah.
Rest in peace to the actress who played his grandma, by the way.
Oh yeah. R.I.P. man. I saw that. I was like, dang.
That's such a great reaction to seeing Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. Like, that was so. I just wanted to bring that up with her real quick, but
yeah.
But also with Ned, we still need to see him become Hobgoblin.
You think they're gonna still do that? Well, I guess. Well, it's Daniel disagreeing. So at this point, yeah, I could see them doing it. Because before, if it was still John Watts, I would have told you, I don't know. But with Daniel, I think it's like, yeah, we're gonna go with, if they can't use Green Goblin, I can see them doing Hobgoblin
Yeah.
being a main antagonist.
But now let's get to not much to say about this character. I
Yeah.
like that she was in it for the duration she was in it though, to connect to the MCU, to connect to the larger MCU. And I like
Hmm.
that she was embracing Peter having friends. I thought that was kind of adorable to see.
Yeah,
But
just
I
being
love
like,
this character.
and even her pointing out like, "Yo, you're lonely. You don't do anything else. Like this is it." Like, and yeah, I always liked Yelena. Yelena, I've been Florence Pugh, once again, another good casting for this, like, for a character. This character I've always found funny and always fucked with. And I like with this, I like it wasn't that he went to the Avengers Tower. I like that she was chilling in her office, uh, in her office,
Yeah.
and Spider-Man went to her to get information. So I like that.
And it's smart, to be fair. Like, I mean,
Hmm.
it's a good way to make sure they don't have weapons. And I like that, they mentioned that Daywolf did the same thing with her too. That it's Una, like like that nice little callback when Daywolf went to see her. Like, you don't see it on
Yeah,
screen, but she mentions it though.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but again, I think she was perfect for the role she had in it. Just get there to help expand the MCU, like
Hmm.
help, because I feel like, again, I feel like the Spider-Man movies, they need to do a little bit more because they're Sony movies. I feel like there's a lot more pressure to really establish, no, this is MCU.
Yeah.
So I think because I've noticed that with the Spider-Man movies, they try a little bit harder to connect it to the larger Marvel universe than they do other films. Like, I feel like, but again, I think it's also needed again because it's the first Spider-Man franchise in the larger MCU. But still,
Yeah.
I like
True.
that. I liked her. Honestly, this guy, I didn't hate him. He was a generic bad guy. I'm not gonna lie, but
Yeah,
it,
he was a bad guy I could see coming. Like, at the same time, if they didn't go the bad guy route, still cool. But I could see like it's DODC, almost like a, not really, like, I know it's a government sanctioned thing, but it's like, I don't know. I look at the DODC as like they're not really a full government, and to me at least. I know they established as like this is the government's own way of like checking people with powers, but I don't know. I with him, he helped make it sell that like the DODC is doing shady stuff, which I expected. Like, DODC is not this, oh, you can, it's not like Shield. It's not Shield. It's not like where you Shield like pre
Hydra.
Hydra, where you could be like, "Oh, I trust them. I trust them." You if you send out a Shield agent that's not Nick Fury or Maria Hill, I trust them. DODC, it's like, like, I you could play like you're trustworthy, but y'all are probably doing shady stuff, and the stuff you're doing in other stuff, I'm just like, I don't really like y'all. And which that was the point. You're not supposed to like the DODC. Not saying they're not necessary, but you can see the slippery slope with the DODC. So I like that this guy played how he played the head of DODC of like, hey, we're doing experimentations, seeing the limits of powers, and him being the one that was there to see Jean's sister die, and and all that, and he was the person that had a hand at her sister dying. So yeah, it's not much to say with him, but yeah, I could
He
kind of see him being a bad guy.
he was like, basically his job was to be the setup for the main antagonist of the movie, Jean Grey. Which, I'm saying
Yeah,
antagonist, not bad guy, because those are different things. Like, people.
true,
So, but now I will say, Bruce Banner. I think this is Mark Ruffalo's best performance since the first
bro.
Avengers movie.
Bro, I was about to say, this is the best performance of his Bruce Banner's, like, since. I even say since Age of Ultron, because I even liked his performance in Age of Ultron. You know, minus his Josh Whedon's version of Wonder Woman or Flash falling on Wonder Woman. Minus that, everything else though of how he was in that film, this was the best performance since then, and I loved how it like seeing like him interacting with Peter going to him and asking these science questions and trying to figure out how to basically like not remove but to like control or dampen the arachnid hormone. Amazing. It made me want crazy to say is it made me want more Bruce and Peter dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, they could really explore that a lot more in the next movie, but I like that they use that to have that universal dampener of
Mhm.
mutants. Like they kind of have a scientific way to explain that because I'll tell you, like my dad, he's complained to me. He's like, "How can you have a dampener that dampens all every power imaginable? Every
Yeah.
power, like how do you invent something like that or dampen every single mutant power? Like, specific powers make sense, but not like one device that dampens all powers." I like that they kind of give an explanation of how something like that would work. So I mean, still not a great explanation, but
Mhm.
I like that they used Bruce Banner to do that. And again, and I like they brought back the real Hulk. Okay, I don't care for that smart
Oh
Hulk
my
shit. That was
god.
stupid. That was
Yes.
stupid. Like,
Yes.
look, the only reason they did it in Endgame is because they didn't want to have to deal with the Hulk transforming back and forth. Let's be honest. They did that because they had so much shit going on in that movie that they could not afford to do a Hulk back and forth like that. That's the only like I mean that's why like literally the next time you see him he's wearing that wristband so he's just
Mhm.
Bruce Banner. So I like that they had a reason to bring him back. I mean it's tragic because you see him finally living out in the free teaching a class and that
Yeah.
happens, but still though, it was nice to see proper Hulk back. And now I don't know how he remembers Peter. I know people say like Hulk, well, he wasn't affected by the spell. Okay, true. But when did Hulk actually meet Peter?
He didn't.
No, he like because
He
the only
didn't.
time they
Yeah.
in Smart Hulk, sure, but that's like kind of the only thing I kind of have to didn't quite make sense
But
there.
do
But
they remember? But does Hulky? Because and I gotta go back and rewatch that
we'll
scene.
see. I don't. The only reason I got that vibe is because they were like saying that before the movie came out that Hulk wasn't affected by the spell. There was like rumors of that
I
happening. That's
think
the
no,
only
no.
reason.
I think what it was is I think he was talking. I think he was talking the. Wasn't he talking to Bruce inside of Hulk? Because
Maybe we have to
Peter,
rewatch that.
because Peter went to Bruce and was playing off like, "Oh, I'm a student. I'm your student or whatever," and realized, from talking to him, he's not. What? Say it again, because you kind of cut out.
Oh, sorry. He didn't fall for it because he was like, "Library's this way." He knew Peter was lying. But anyways, go
Yeah.
on.
So I think it wasn't that I don't think it's because they remembered Peter's Spider-Man. I think it was just from that interaction at the college that Peter was able to get to Bruce. So I don't think Bruce or Peter, or not Peter, Bruce or Hulk knows, or even I don't think they even interacted with Spider-Man to know he's Spider-Man. But
Yeah,
I
they
think
never
that
did.
interaction at the college is what helped in that fight.
Maybe that would actually make a little more sense, honestly. So,
Mhm.
but still, though, I was nervous about Hulk being in this movie because I'm not a big fan of the Mark Ruffalo Hulk. But I prefer Edward Norton. I wish Edward Norton was able to stay, whatever happened with that. But I will say that this was good. I will give. I find it kind of ironic because Hulk is so all over the place because his solo rights are owned by Universal. That's why his one solo movie is distributed by Universal. Yeah, he can be in the
Yeah.
team up films with
But
Disney,
he can't. He can't.
but now here he is in a Sony movie now.
But I think this is considered a
It's
team
technically a
team
Sony
up.
movie. Yeah, it is. No, it is a team up film. Like that's like well, basically he just can't be the main character. Like he can be
Yeah,
a part of an ensemble character. Like that's the whole reason for Thor Ragnarok. It was their way of doing Planet Hulk without having to involve Universal, because it's a Thor movie. Like Hulk can basically be in an ensemble or supporting character. He just can't be the
yeah.
main character. That's basically all it is.
That is
Like
such
you
a.
just can't.
I'm sorry. That's such a dumb rule. I like
Well, because they sold the
Universal.
rights back when.
No, but I understand the rights thing. It's just like Universal. Why aren't you just doing what Sony is doing and just start making
Work a
deals
deal.
with them? Yeah, work out a deal so we can
Maybe
get
because
Hulk
they don't have
movies.
as much leverage though, because with like Spider-Man, they couldn't use Spider-Man at all. Hulk, they
Yeah.
can use him. So I think that's why. Because like I feel like for Marvel's perspective, they can use Hulk all they want as long as they don't make him a main character. It might not be as worth it to them to make a deal like it would be for. So I don't know, but
So wait, but do they get a percentage for using him though, in like an ensemble, or is it just a hey?
I don't think they get anything. I think the only thing
Okay,
Universal has the rights to are solo Hulk movies. Him in an ensemble, they don't have the rights to.
okay,
So I don't think it's like
then I could see them. I could see why Marvel or not yet. I can see why Universal doesn't have leverage because I can see Marvel being cheap and being like, well, if we can use them for free and just can't use do a solo movie and it's only ensembles and team ups, hey, we'll just
I
go
mean
that route.
I mean that's why Brave New World was literally the sequel to the Incredible Hulk without the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I mean that movie,
yeah.
like I still laugh about that. Like that movie was a sequel to the Incredible Hulk more than was it
Without
like
the
without
so
like
yeah, that's so crazy they did that too. And then
so
even She Hulk, you had She Hulk, and then you still had Hulk in it, but it's a
I'm
She Hulk.
still
You had She
yeah, I
Hulk
was
and Abomination. Oh,
yeah, I'm still a little confused how that worked exactly, but the rights are confusing. I will say that, but it's again, people need to remember Marvel was poor. They were not always this major empire. That's why things are the way they are.
true.
Whereas you have Warner Brothers who has all their characters, and they still insist on using the side characters. But anyways, I'm gonna let you talk about May Parker for a little bit, and then let me know, and then I will do my whole Uncle Ben rant.
I love they brought May back, not just for hey, we're gonna have Peter visit her grave. I love that how they incorporated her into this, and I know you're gonna get into this with the Uncle Ben, but like basically Aunt May's being the Uncle Ben in this sense. Whatever the whole setup with Marvel, I don't know why they did this, which we'll talk about it, but I love how they incorporated even just the showing even more how close Peter and May was in their relationship and seeing how um even with that of how like Aunt May still from the grave was still able to help Peter and even help Jean find her way and not lose herself. So I really love that. I really love that, and I love that. What's her name? Is it Marissa Tomei? Is that her, or am I thinking?
Oh, Aunt May. Okay, actress who plays MCU Aunt May. I know. Yeah, Marissa Tomei. I can't pronounce her
Okay,
name. Yeah,
yeah,
she was.
I liked her as Aunt May. Like they did a good job with her in this, and I really love that.
And I don't mind her not looking old because that was something that did not make sense in the Tobey Maguire films. Even if it's supposed to be in the comics, they're his aunt and uncle, not his grandparents. Why do they look?
Yeah,
That was always weird to me. But anything else you want to say before I go on my rants?
no, that's pretty much it. Because what the other stuff I want to say is about the Uncle Ben. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I understand they don't need to show. They don't want to show Uncle Ben again. That's fine. The Spider-Man games did not show Uncle Ben. Well, I haven't actually played 2 yet, but the first game did not show Uncle Ben, but they made him still an important part of the story. They
Hmm.
mentioned him. Civil War, I didn't mind him being implied because this was at the end of the day Captain America's film /
Right.
Avengers film. It made sense. Then it kind of slowly starts to get me a little bit more. Homecoming. You can tell he's there. They're mentioning him some vaguely when he's like, I can't tell Aunt May after everything he's been through.
Mm-hmm.
See ya, DC Talk. So I'm like, yeah, and like, I don't really like that because, like, I mean, to me, it's like you don't need to show Batman's parents die again, but how it's like to me, Uncle Ben to Spider-Man is what Batman's parents are to him. Even if you don't show it, you have to mention them. So, and then Far From Home, the only thing is like his suitcase. They show a suitcase.
Yep.
With his initials, but then they even laugh about it getting destroyed. Like the one piece you have of Uncle Ben. What up, Sin Havoc? You have one piece of Uncle Ben that got destroyed, and you're laughing about it. I found that that's a little weird. And again, just give a small little mention to Uncle. Just mention him, like saying something. Ben would be proud of you. Just small little thing like
Mm-hmm.
that. That's all. Like it, and then you get to No Way Home. This is what really gets me. First, you have Aunt May taking Uncle Ben's great line. I think they paraphrase it slightly. They're like, "With great power comes." Like there was, I feel like there was some word that was added in there that wasn't it was the exact line, but they like took a word out of it. But
Yeah.
this is what really gets me. Peter too mentions his Uncle Ben when he mentions Peter 3 even mentions his Uncle Ben when he said
Yeah.
when Peter 1 says Aunt May said with great power comes great responsibility, which is funny that Peter 2 or Peter 3 is like Uncle Ben said that. I'm like, no, he didn't. He literally he basically said that, but he basically didn't say those words because they didn't want to say the line directly for some reason.
Yeah.
But it's just like, but like you have, and this is where it feels like they're like going out of their way. You have the other Spider-Man mentioning their Uncle Ben, but not Peter mentioning his Uncle Ben. And then it's like Aunt May's grave at the end of No Way Home. Yeah, No Way Home.
Yeah.
It's confusing because one's called Far From Home, the other's called No Way Home. But like,
Yeah. I get it. I get it mixed up too.
you have Aunt May's grave. This is the perfect time to just have Ben lying right next to her.
Yeah.
And it just and now it drives me so insane that you see Peter doing all these flowers for Aunt May, but never anything for Uncle Ben. Like, well, if that's the case, that's even a bigger sin. Sin Havoc. Like that don't know. Like,
Yeah,
and
I look, it's one thing to give Aunt May to be the one to give Peter the with great power comes great responsibility, or however, whatever the one phrase, one word they put in it to slightly change it, but to have her die before Uncle Ben is crazy. I'm not gonna lie, it's crazy. And I love Spider-Man, but that's too far to me. Like you're gonna have Aunt May die before Uncle Ben.
yeah, they better not do that. Look, I'm more of a DC guy, I will admit that, but even I know enough like again, it's like Spider-Man crosses that threshold for me. And
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Ben is an important part of Spider-Man's character. So again, I understand not wanting to show it again. Just mention him.
Yeah.
Like at the grave, just show Ben right next to him. Maybe have Peter buy 2 flowers. One for
Yeah.
Aunt May, one for Uncle Ben. Like, it doesn't have to be a big thing. You don't even have to show him still. Like, Aunt May can still hurt more because it's more recent. Like, if you have 2 parents who you loved equally, if your dad dies 10 years ago and then last year your mom dies, you're still going to be more sad about your mom dying because it happened last year versus 10
Right.
years ago. So like
Right.
I don't mind Peter necessarily grieving more for Aunt May, but like no, yeah, no, no.
You're speaking blasphemy. This is blasphemy that's being
I'm about
spoken in the comments. Don't ever in your life say Tony was Spider-Man's Uncle Ben. Don't ever say that again. No. And that's why I have a problem with Homecoming. Yeah, no. Go ahead, because I'm gonna go on a rant, that unneeded rant. But go ahead. Yeah.
and I will just say, MC or the MCU What If series. Remember, in those episodes, in that show, everything is the same up to a certain event. So until that certain event, everything else is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Peter mentions
Yeah.
Uncle Ben in that zombies episode. That
Yeah.
like so literally up until the whole point of like that zombie virus being in the quantum realm, everything that happened was exactly the same as Earth 616.
Yeah.
So Uncle Ben is alive. Or not alive. God damn
He
it, Sid Havoc.
exists. He
He
exists. Yeah.
So I will go on your rants now, Kozy.
Oh no, I didn't want to go on the rant that Sin Havoc was about to go off, but
okay.
the things I was just gonna mention was kind of just similar to you about the Uncle Ben of like, why not? You could have you could have just mentioned just have him next to the, like you said, next to Aunt May in the grave, brings 2 flowers, or could have tricked the audience, had one flower and then split it off for 2 of them, boom, reveal. And have him when he leaves to say like, I miss you too, Uncle Ben, and then he leaves. Like something simple, something that's not too much, takes away anything, and it still is like, yo, Uncle Ben died, he existed, and we can move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to end this on a positive note. I like that the one thing with the Ant-Man flashback I like that they actually addressed her finding out that Peter is Spider-Man. Because the first movie, it ends with another F-bomb cut off. And then the next time you see them together, she's just cool with him being Spider-Man.
Yeah. Which I had a problem. I didn't have a problem. She was cool with it. I didn't like the ending that just like her just being like, what the and then just like, I don't know. It could have.
I don't mind the ending so much as long as the sequel addressed it.
Yeah,
like
and they didn't really address it. They just like, hey, we're cool.
And I think that's what that scene is. Like that's her addressing it. Is that so? I feel like she was in it, but it didn't feel forced. It was there because. Okay, so what's Curly Ray? Oh, no, not Curly Ray. Sorry, TJ. Marvel owns the production rights to make a Hulk. Oh, okay, that's what it is.
Wait. Owns the production rights to make a Hulk movie, but Universal Pictures holds the right for the first refusal to distribute any standalone Hulk theatrical. Can't control theatrical distributions, take cut of the profits. So either way, it still goes to my point of they're being cheap. They don't want to have to, because they already have to pay Sony, so they don't want to have to pay for the Hulk thing. Okay,
yeah.
understandable.
I mean, I get that, but yeah. So I mean, I like I said, Aunt May, like her, but please, please just mention Uncle Ben. Have Uncle Ben find some way to like make him part of the story. Like, here's the thing. With 5, I'm no longer okay with just a mention. Like, make him like find some way to actually make him in it organically. Please. Please. Like, I'm a DC fan complaining about this. Please.
No, it is kind of weird. It's like, to your point of like, oh, Bruce's parent, like Bruce grew up with Alfred, but there's no mention of Martha and Thomas.
No.
Why are we? What is these blasphemy? Hey man, y'all look. I can't go get it because I got a Spider-Man plushie that I got when I was a little kid. I'm gonna need y'all with these blasphemy fucking theories. All right, look, I don't know. She wasn't never married. Oh, Tony Stark was the Uncle Ben. No, man, stop. No. Let's stop it. I'm cool with no Uncle Ben. All right.
Stop.
We're just gonna move forward. We're just gonna move. We're just gonna move forward because these.
Final fight. Spider-Man kicks ass with the hand. I like that. I like that he let loose his inner beast.
Yo, that fight with the hand was crazy. I'm not that. Yo, they had a Snyder blueprint. I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but there. They had a Snyder blueprint. And it's okay. But man, that fight scene was crazy. I wish it. I kind of wish the fight went a little longer, not too much, but just a little longer. But I enjoyed the visual and the fights for it. And even with the Hulk fight, I know we're talking about the final fight, but even with the Hulk fight, I really enjoyed. But the the that fight with the hand, bro. Now I'm like, not saying it should be Dino, like, because I don't want to be the type person to be like, hey, this director did amazing with these two comic book films. He should do this, that, and the third. But whoever does, if they ever do a Daredevil movie, I would love to see like that action with Daredevil in a movie. If they ever do a movie, I don't know if they can.
If they do no, this is what I think. Instead of doing a Daredevil movie, do a Daredevil Spider-Man team-up film. That's what I think the 5th movie needs to be. Make it Daredevil this time. So you make Kingpin the bad guy.
I don't, because I'm not against a Spider-Man Daredevil team-up film, but I feel like the 5th movie should be a Spider-Man actually by himself. And then you could do, I guess, the 6th one, a team up, because it feels like we just went from Spider-Man working with the Punisher to Spider-Man to working with Daredevil to whatever the 3rd one would be. So, what's up, Necron?
I actually saw that Necron. I was kind of thinking, oh, wow, we're doing the same show at the same time, but it's scheduling works. Scheduling, that's just how scheduling is. See, well, I know, because I know Mikey Sutton was talking about that, about Daredevil and Kingpin being in it. We need to see. I just think, unfortunately, it's just gonna be in a Spider-Man film because of the whole rights issue. They're not gonna do if they're gonna do they're gonna only do a Spider-Man and Avengers films. They're not gonna do any. Civil War is an exception, but other than that, I don't think we're gonna see Spider-Man in any films outside of Avengers and his films.
Yeah.
But other ways, other than the final fight, I like the way Jean Grey. I like that it wasn't really a fight. I like that. That's why I have that in quotes, because I mean, I like that it was a talking down moment. It was such a real powerful moment. I I won't go through the whole thing again because we kind of did with Aunt May. But I really liked how they had Aunt May be the one to really talk her down.
I agree with that, TJ. I think Spider-Man 5 should be the birth of Sinister Six.
Well, they can always have the Sinister Six be working for Kingpin. That the animated series did that.
That could work too, yeah. Because they did do that. Yeah, you're right. They did do that. So they could still incorporate Daredevil and Kingpin if they're able to, if they agree with Sony. Because is it Sony who owns Kingpin, right?
So what it is, from my understanding, is that Marvel has the right to use him for TV shows. Sony has the rights to use him for movies, because Kingpin's both a Daredevil and a Spider-Man villain. That's why the rights are a little skewed with Kingpin.
And they're not going to want to. They're not going to want to, because that means paying even more money to them because they're using Spider-Man and then you're using Kingpin. Yeah, okay. I'm already peeping it. All right. Cool. Yeah.
I don't know how, I'm still a little confused how it worked with Fox, though, because they did that when they had the rights to Daredevil. They had that Daredevil. It's a little weird because, Kingpin's a little bit of a weird one because of the fact he's a Spider-Man villain and a Daredevil villain. That's why it's like the same reason why Wanda and Quicksilver were shared between Fox and Marvel, because in the comics they're both Avengers and X-Men. That's why you had that weird shared rights situation with them, because Marvel owned the rights to Avengers, Fox owned the rights to X-Men. So that's why you were able to do that thing where you just couldn't have them be mutants, because in the comics they're also Avengers.
I wonder the stuff they cut out, because even the stuff they cut out, I wonder if they're saving that for Spider-Man 5 or something like that, or Spider-Man 6.
I could see that
because it sounds like from what Mikey scooped, and then what I'm hearing from or what I'm reading from Sin is that all this was planned for this film, but they changed the story and script for the X-Men stuff, or to set up the X-Men, because I don't know what other movie other than, I guess, the Avengers Secret Wars to set up X-Men. And so I'm guessing, because a lot of stuff they cut out, I imagine they're going to save for the next movie, which would make
Well, I
sense.
hope
So I could see them doing a Spider-Man Daredevil team up then.
that's what I think. Well, I mean, again, the reason why I kind of want that to be next is because we don't know how long these actors are going to be able to do these roles for. So I want to see. And I think because they had Daredevil Born Again, because the reason why Punisher wasn't in Daredevil Born Again season 2 is because of the Punisher special and Brand New Day.
Yeah.
That's why that was the trade off, basically, instead of getting him in Born Again season 2. So.
So Spider-Man runs back to Marvel. Yeah, hey, I if anybody I see being bought by Disney in terms of the Marvel characters, it would be Spider-Man. It would be Spider-Man, because like I would see them trying to buy Spider-Man back than the Hulk. Not saying they wouldn't do both, but if they had to pick one, I could see them doing Spider-Man and then later getting Hulk.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about the final fight, though? I mean, I think we kind of mostly covered it with the Aunt May thing, ironically.
Other than it's just, man, that was, man, they killed it with that fight, and I'm looking for more, like, I guess not fights like that, but just fights in general in that aspect. Because they killed it. They did, because like I really love what they did with the hand of doing that, like, old school martial art, like, feel of the, like, when they jump, it feels like an unrealistic jump, but like, who cares, because they're ninjas, so you don't need an explanation of why they're jumping so high and all that. So it was just a cool thing all around though. So before we move on, they did have weapons, like weapons to use against Spider-Man, not like your shurikens or whatever. It was like tasers and all that. So I imagine, because I want to mention this also when we were talking about the chip, the DODC is developing their own tech, because even when Spider-Man goes and visits the head of DODC, he's being scanned and they're reading out, like, you hear what's being read out of what his powers are. Superhuman strength. Like, they're reading it out. So I think pretty soon, other than I don't think it's just Peter, like, because I know we focus on the chip and be like, oh yeah, the chip is gonna be the thing that is gonna be developed for the X-Men. I think what they're already developing stuff at the DODC to use against the mutants.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. They're showing the technologies out there. We'll say it like that.
Yeah.
But now something I want to the ending. I wish they did not cut Claire Temple's scene. People don't.
Yeah.
Rosario Dawson filmed the scene, and I guess that was supposed to be in the hospital. That was partly explained why Peter's identity was kept secret, because I don't know why they cut that out. That should not have been cut out. That was totally. I guess maybe the only logic is because Punisher never had an interaction with. Maybe that's why, and they wanted to save that for like a Daredevil. Maybe, but it's like it would be kind of funny though.
Claire is the best setup. Like, it's the best alley-oop to explain, because it's like, it's one thing to be like, yeah, Punisher's the one that told him not to take off the mask, but Claire is the one that's the nurse that would be operating on him.
Yeah, someone had to take off that mask. I mean, it's not like, so yeah, I mean, I don't know why they cut that scene, but
I don't know either.
But I did like the whole scene, Punisher bringing Peter in, being upset.
Oh, can we talk about that real quick? They even though it's not, even though Civil War is not the Civil War that I've read that I love, but they did the famous comic panel of him carrying Spider-Man into the well, in this he's kind of carrying him in the hospital. The other one wasn't really a hospital, but him carrying him in, and that famous, like, him holding Peter in his arms, yelling for help. Like, yo, I was like, they did it. I was sitting there, I was like, they did the scene. It's not the exact scene, but they did a homage to that.
Well, yeah, I
Oh,
mean, because you can't do the exact scene because the Civil War
yeah,
comic was very different than the movie, but Civil War
facts.
comic's better, much better, less plot
Yeah,
holes. But
yeah.
anyway, we're gonna get off topic here, but I did like that ending. I like seeing Punisher really caring about Peter, and I don't mind that he wasn't arrested because I think the public was more concerned about Peter than trying to arrest someone who's trying to help him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure Punisher found a way to get out of the hospital. I mean, it's Punisher, guys. I'm not like, even if the police had some understanding that they were going to arrest him afterwards, it's
I
Punisher.
mean,
So I'm
he
not.
was still dressed up as Spider-Man, so
Yeah,
technically he could just walk out in the suit and then just be like, or with the mask on and just walk out and be like, all right, Spider-Man's leaving. Like,
it's funny. There's a meme about showing the different actors who played Spider-Man in live action, and now John Bernthal's listed on there, which is
yeah, hey, it counts. I count it.
so. But I guess another thought. What was your thoughts on that one scene where Jean Grey's possessing the boy, saying hi to Peter, doing that finger thing, that finger
At
greeting?
first, when I watched it, before I like after it, after watching the movie and going on Twitter, at first I thought it was just the kid being like, just like, I don't know, but then again, I was like thinking, I'm like, how would the kid know Peter's Spider-Man though? So it made sense. I was like, okay, it is Gene. It would be Gene doing that. So I I liked it. I took it as like her, like, kind of just letting Peter know, first of all, seeing the
But he's okay
impact. Yeah, seeing he's okay, and then seeing the impact that Peter has on the
on the
city.
town, the
Yeah.
city. I don't know why I said town. New York's way
Yes.
too big to be a.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I really, that was really good too, and just seeing everything set up with Jean Grey going upstate and Peter reconciling his friendship, or like finally really rekindling with Ned and them getting back
Mhm.
together as friends. Even if it's not the same friendship it was before, it's something new. It's
Yeah.
still so. I like the ending. Anything else you want to say about the ending?
I love that he had his own version of what Toby had in the third Spider-Man film, where everybody's cheering for Spider-Man.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
yeah, I love that. And then him being in the crowd and being able to, even though it's not him in the window and it's Punisher, but him being in the crowd and being able to experience all this with experience the love that they all have for Spider-Man. I really enjoyed that touched my heart. I was like, yeah, he sees the impact he has on everybody. So, but other than that, pretty much it. Unless, and then you have the after credit scene, or yeah, after the
but he's not
post
on
credit
Earth
scene. Yeah.
anymore. Post credit scene. Yeah, he's not on Earth
Now,
anymore.
what I saw was it wasn't him that was on Earth. They said apparently it said something about it was another Spider-Man that was.
Oh, we know they're going to be in it, but the other
Yeah.
Spider-Man, whether it's Doomsday or Secret Wars, we know they're going to absolutely be in it. And
Yeah.
there's actually rumors that Tom Holland's not going to be in Doomsday other than his voice.
Which I'm not mad at. We just had a great Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
I'd say, hey, bring him in. I'm not gonna be mad you bringing him in Secret Wars and not Doomsday, or because Doomsday is like Infinity War, setting it up to the
Well,
big
I
thing.
think the thing he's going to be in, like, Spider-Man is going to be in Doomsday. He's just not going to take. It's just going to be like a Mandalorian situation where he doesn't take off his mask. And no, that's just a rumor.
Mm,
Could be wrong, but I've heard that
okay.
rumor that he's like it's going to be a Mandalorian situation where it'll be some other actor playing him, and then post production they'll redo the line so that it's Tom Holland's voice. So Tom
Yeah.
Holland will voice him, but because he's Spider-Man, wears a mask, you don't really need to have him physically be on set.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see. Well, now other thoughts? Anything we missed? I love Scorpion. I loved
Scorpion was
Tombstone.
fire.
Great actors. Well, especially with Tombstone, they got an actual albino to play him.
Yeah.
Because, like, did you watch Black Lightning?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So you know it's that same actor who's
Yeah, it's the
has
same. Yeah.
albinism. So it was really perfect to have him. And what killed me though, you had such a great actor for Tombstone, and he's barely in it. Like even Scorpion had one, he was also in Homecoming, but he had a bigger role in this one.
Yeah.
But Tombstone's like, you have this great actor, and he's only in it for 10 seconds.
Yeah, I hope they bring him back. And like obviously he solidified his Tombstone, and I would imagine they would bring him back.
Sinister Six.
Sinister Six. But yeah, I would love for them to bring him back so we can see more of the interaction they have, especially that now they established that hey, Spider-Man fought Tombstone, so there's history there. So even when we go to the next movie and he's in it, there's already history of him stopping him. So I would love to see more of that, and then obviously more of Scorpion, because I love the guy who plays Scorpion because he's perfect fit, and I like the suit. The suit was like fire. So yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know if there's anything else that we could be missing. Yeah, I can't think of anything.
Okay, well then, final thoughts and rating them. What's your overall final thoughts for the movie, and what would you rate it as?
I have it at a 9. I have it at a 9. It's not a 10. It's not a 10 out of 10. It's a not even a 9.5. I have it at a 9. I don't even have it at 8.9. I have it at a 9. It did everything that I wanted, minus a few things they're missing. So I have it at a 9 rating for me.
That's fair.
It's not perfect, but it is perfect enough for me for what I've been wanting for Tom Holland Spider-Man. Yeah.
That's fair. Now I'll be honest, I don't remember if this rating is actually higher than what I gave No Way Home. But if it's lower than No Way Home, I still think it's a better movie than No Way Home because always take my ratings with a grain of salt, guys. They're not sometimes just what I'm in the mood for that day. I'm not gonna lie. And Jeremy Johnson's admitted that he does that too. Like there are some buy it on Blu-rays that are better than Awesome Tacular. So, but anyways, I think overall it's a great movie, but they're still missing some stuff. Like Uncle Ben, please put Uncle Ben in some way, shape, or form in the next movie, please. anyways, I'm going to give it a 9.4923465892 out of 10. There's still some room. It's I think the best Tom Holland movie out there, Tom Holland Spider-Man movie out there, but there's still more to come. There's still more they need. Now coming up, what's coming up for you, Kozy?
We have I just got done shooting recording a Lethal Geeks one shots. So Rox is editing that up, so expect that coming out soon. On my YouTube channel, Kozy's World, I'm working on a gaming video that I'm close to finishing that I'll be uploading, and then a couple other reactions to trailers, especially I got to record my reactions to newer trailers like the what just came out recently that I need to. There's a trailer.
Doomsday.
No, I already that's already up. Doomsday Dune is already up.
The dinosaur movie, it's like Oak Street.
I didn't do a reaction to that because I saw the trailer in theaters. So there's like a thing I can't but there's something that just came out recently that I wanted to do a reaction to, but expect newer reactions to come on the channel and other newer gaming videos coming on the channel. And pretty soon I'm announcing, because I announced it on in a group chat I was in, but I'm announcing it here. I will be starting to do live streams on YouTube. So be expecting like an announcement. I will be doing a test stream, so if there's a random like stream I'm doing, that's a test stream. But after the test stream, I'll be letting people know, hey, I'm going live on YouTube to talk about this, that, and third, because Twitter has me in what's it called? Space jail, whatever, because for some reason I can't do spaces because there's no option for me to do spaces anymore. So I will be doing YouTube live streams. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah. And other than that, that's pretty much it. None too crazy other than that. But yeah.
Can't wait, man. I can't wait to see your first real live stream. I'll say the real live stream, not the test one. But
Yeah.
I and thank you for coming on, man. Thank you for coming on for my first, this rebranded Marvelous Discussions, which, guys, don't worry, I will eventually have a new logo and intro and background. And heck, probably when I have the new logo, I'll probably retroactively change the thumbnail to have the new logo. So I'll probably do that at least.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed having this conversation about Spider-Man with you. And if you don't mind, when Doomsday comes out and both of us sees it, I have no problem coming on here and doing a spoiler review on Doomsday with you too. So
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I was actually going to ask you. So
works
there you go. Perfectly.
Yeah.
So yeah, and like again, Marvelous Discussions will continue on, guys. Now I probably won't have a co-host, so probably will just be a guest constantly. Kozy will be a common guest, but I'm just gonna do. That show's just gonna be guests from now on. That's the main thing that's gonna really be different about that. But then, other than that, though, I have a Batman's Thoughts coming out soon. I went to Kings Island recently because I'm gonna be getting more into theme parks.
Okay.
And I went to Kings Island, which is a Six Flags owned theme park through the Cedar Fair merger. And what I've actually decided is that the show Bat Dance Sauce, not the overall channel, the show Bat Dance Sauce from here on out will be dedicated to theme parks. And the reason I'm doing that is because I really wanted something to separate the show Bat Dance Sauce from the other shows I do on Bat Dance Sauce. And because honestly, the DC stuff I do streams for, I've been doing streams for anyways, and I'll do clips if I really want short content. I'm like, you know what? Let's make the theme park stuff. That can be the home for like the show Bat Dance Sauce from here on out. Obviously, the non-theme parks content will be up, so I'll even that I've done previously before this rebrand will still happen. But and again, that's the show Bat Dance Sauce. The overall channel Bat Dance Sauce is still going to have everything.
Yeah.
And I actually recorded an episode, but I may actually redo it because I was
Okay.
So I've done that before. I'll record something. I'm like, yeah, this didn't turn out the way I like it. So I'll probably hopefully get a recording of it this weekend because I still want to do it while it's fresh in my mind. And then, so be on the lookout for that. And yes, guys, I know Zack Snyder posted something today that will be discussed. And then also this Paramount merge. I know I haven't talked about it since it got delayed. There's a lot to talk about. I will be on. I will talk about that. So be on the lookout for that. And again, thank you again, Kozy, for coming on for this rebranded Marvelous Discussions. This Marvel will continue on this channel, guys. Okay, it won't be as frequent as it was before, but it will still happen. And guys, if you like this stream, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more unique takes, interesting thoughts, and great discussions such as these. And on that note, any final words, Kozy?
Nah, just hey man, I appreciate being on here. That's it.
And on that note, have a marvelous day.